Greetings, sentient beings. This broadcast is not intended for children. There will be strong language and adult themes.
Poopies.
And in addition to our usual panel of Jenny, Will, and Mage, we have a special guest with us, Bree from, well, it was Brainbug. What now is it?
Hive Science.
Hive Science, okay. Yeah, recently changed the name of the channel.
Yes, I did. I did change the name of the channel. Actually, it's kind of convenient because I changed it for, I wanted to get it changed before June. It's just Pride Month. And part of the reason I changed it is because the origins of the Brainbug name, Brain, was derived from people misspelling my first name of my dead name, which was Brian. So there was it's kind of got my dead name in it. So I just wanted to cut it loose and getting rid of that and change it to something that reflects what I'm doing more. What's more convenient than that than to do it right at the turn of Pride, right?
Hey, Bree, can I give you a suggestion?
Uh-huh.
Don't mention your dead name anymore, anywhere, anytime, for any reason.
Well, people are going to remember. I mean, I
know, I understand that, but don't mention it on the air, especially anytime, anywhere, for any reason.
I'll give you advice. Just as long as you're okay with it, screw everybody else. Don't live for anyone else except for yourself.
I agree with that.
Speaking of that, it's Pride. Happy Pride. So as a reminder to people, I think just like Memorial Day, we should remind people that people actually died so we can sit here and talk shit to each other. So remember that before you get uppity about Pride. Or I've heard a lot of people recently trashing the rainbow flag because they don't know what it's about. Or I think you should remember that this is about unity. So we all have our separate cause. We all have what we're fighting for. But this entire month is about unity.
Yeah.
So remember that when you go to fight people who are fighting for the same cause that you are.
Well, and that's something that I think has gotten, kind of diluted a lot by, all of the different pride flags of the different subgroups. That the whole idea of the rainbow flag was it was supposed to include everyone regardless.
Yeah, that's true. It was meant to be not just LGBT, but all marginalized people. And the rainbow, there's some colors in the various flags today that aren't on the actual pride flag, but that's not the point of the rainbow. The point of the rainbow is to show the infinity of the light spectrum and the color.
Right.
Spectrum.
Every color is in the rainbow. I mean,
yeah. That's exactly right.
But the way we depict it as a flag, of course, there's bars of the 7 different colors. But the only reason we use the 7 colors is because someone, who was it that was really into the Freemasons and wanted to make sure it matched up with number 7? I know Godless Zoe knows. I can see it on your face. You know what I'm talking about.
Know what it is? It's because of my staunch nihilism, I kind of laugh at all of the masonry, the 33 degrees and all that. Do you realize if you're standing at 33 degrees, you're standing like this? And I know that I'm going off on a tangent, but like a lot of that just makes me laugh. So when I heard Mason and Pride flag, I wanted to cry.
Oh, Kitty's here. Hi, Kitty.
Yes, our other queen of sewing.
Kitty, critique my makeup. Did I do a good job today?
I think you look fabulous, my dear.
You. I know Kitty's a makeup expert, in my opinion. Watching her do her makeup is amazing.
Oh, I am far from an expert. But
I appreciate it.
You're pretty damn good. With your own style that you do, you're pretty darn good.
You're roboting again.
I like the gothy stuff. That's like kind of my thing too. I know I'm wearing orange right now, but I was like gothy when I was in high school. I think it was an excuse to wear makeup because I had to be a boy. To wear makeup. So
pastel goth is a thing,
Oh, Bree, give me 5 minutes. I'll have you looking like you're in a Norwegian death metal band. Are you kidding me? I'm crying black tears. I've done that. Yeah. I'm anti-kiss. That's why I never donned the black and white makeup.
I'm very nervous about the makeup yet, and especially doing makeup to go out in public I'm still keeping it pretty low key and not doing much more than to cover the beard shadow.
Do you ever spend time at night, Perp, where you just you just sit in front of your mirror and you do your makeup, and you do it for, let's say, an evening out, which is radical, go all the way kind of stuff, and then wipe it all off and do it again, and wipe it all off and do it again, and so on and so on.
No, I actually haven't done that, but
I
actually
experiment with different styles to cover my various features that I'm trying to hide.
Yeah. I have to get around a lot of my own psychosis that it's really hard for me just to do anything for myself. I've spent my whole life taking care of other people, and even when it's quiet at night and I realize I've got nothing else to do, it's still hard to justify doing something just for me.
I know that feeling. But see, here's the thing. As someone who does everything for everybody else, every once in a while, it's okay to be selfish and get a habit. It's okay to like do something for you.
Yeah, and I know that intellectually, but internalizing it emotionally is a different issue.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you anything I don't struggle with myself.
Well, I mean, we can always have a girls' night off stream one night where we all do our makeup together,
That'd be a good idea.
And if you're just getting started in eyeshadows, I would say get a nude palette, because that is good for like an everyday look. You can build it up to make it glam, but if you go lighter with the colors and you make sure to blend it to soften it out, then it's great for an everyday look. And nudes are just skin tones, of varying degrees of darkness. Like I struggle with nude palettes just because I'm so fair. Like the colors that are really nice on people with a little bit darker skin than me are really dark on me. But you make it work. Just use a little bit and blend. Blending is very important.
I've always thought about makeup in that there's two basic gross techniques or skills that you need to develop. There's one, the palette concept, that there's all these colors and what works well together, what works for what kind of night you're going to go out for, or what kind of day job you have, or the setting that you're going to be in. The other skill is the muscle memory. And if you don't develop the muscle memory to put on mascara, to put on eyeliner, you're never going to look right with it. But the more you do it, the better you get. And that's what the sessions at home are all about. It's just to practice with the muscle memory and get better at it.
Jenny, you're kind of roboting again.
Well,
I can't
it's staticky, but yeah.
So
Jenny's got connection issues, and there's nothing she can do about that.
So, as your Pride coordinator here in Los Angeles, California, on Friday, June 3rd at Dodger Stadium is Pride Night. They actually moved that forward. Oh, we have two Pride Nights at Dodger Stadium. Christina Aguilera will be performing at Pride this year.
Oh, cool.
With a bunch of other people I've never heard of. Universal Studios, of course, is having its Pride event. Cirque du Soleil. You can't say gay without saying Cirque du Soleil.
Cirque du Soleil.
Cirque du Soleil. I've seen them at least twice, and I was like, everyone here is gay. Have you ever seen?
That was one that I missed when I was out in Vegas. Like I didn't go to a lot of the shows, and Cirque du Soleil was one that I did not go to see. I also didn't actually go to Circus the casino because like I'm not a huge fan of just clowns. So I was like, yeah, I think I'll skip that one and I'll just go to the old Vegas.
I've only seen them in movies.
Circus.
I'm really into clowns. That's why I joined the Republican Party.
Oh, Harvey Milk Day. That's Harvey Milk's birthday, though. It is Harvey Milk Day here in California.
What day is that?
I want to say the 11th, but they don't have it on. Let me check. Because I read this last night. Today would have been Harvey Milk's 1977, 92. He would have been 92.
Ooh. Why don't you tell the people out in Gayland who Harvey Milk was?
Why don't you, Mayor?
All right. Harvey Milk was a was he a city superintendent or alderman in San Francisco who was gay as fuck. And this
The
was
technical
very,
term.
yeah, it was very early in the recognition of gay people as existing in any form other than scum and perverts that have to stay in the dark. And so he was one of the first people that started to reach out and make us look normal and things. And they changed some of the legislation in San Francisco. I honestly don't remember which, but it was positive for the LGBT community. And then some crazy motherfucker shot him and killed him.
He passed the first protection, the legislation for the first protection of people with LGBT in California, which those laws are still on the books to this very day.
Yeah.
And he was assassinated.
Was it a religious zealot that killed him?
I don't think so. The guy who killed him shot up. I read this a few years ago. I don't remember it entirely, but the guy shot up the entire place and I think he assassinated the mayor too, if I remember right.
It was really horrible when it happened. Like I said, it was in the early days, and people went around openly saying, well, good, that faggot deserved to die.
Yeah.
We don't need any of them around. We should kill them all. And just all these horrible things that they would say.
I grew up listening to that day in and day out. That's what kept me in the closet for so long.
It's hard for me to hear things like that because I grew up in a very accepting environment around a bunch of people who for all intent and purposes should not have been. So when people say, oh, man up or be a man, I think of people I was raised around that regardless of how I acted were still utterly and completely good people to me.
I just grew up in a fairly quiet suburb where, back in the 70s, it wasn't in the news, so people didn't talk about it much. And the only thing I remember hearing about anyone being gay before I was in high school was mostly one of my teachers at school ranting about how they were taking over the word gay.
Oh, taking it from
yeah.
Other than that, it really just was something that wasn't talked about until I was an adult.
Yeah.
It's everybody's word. You can't have it.
I manned up and became a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah. I mean, hey, vaginas are meant to take a pounding. You flick a ball sack and the guy's done. So, I mean, just saying, instead of saying you have the balls or not up,
it's not the sack, it's the contents of the sack.
Yeah, exactly. Balls.
You know what I mean.
Well, seriously, if these guys want to show that they're so macho and tough and can take pain, what could be more macho than lopping off your nuts?
Totally.
Now you're veering off to biker gang. Because that's what people say in a biker gang. Like, oh, you're tough? Chop your finger off. We call that class. Oh, you're... that people actually
I already chopped off 3 fingers, so...
Oh, you're in. I got a bike for you. You're in.
So, I mean, I actually, I had privilege in coming out. There are members of my family where... I mean, I know that it makes them a little uncomfortable. It's kind of, they just don't want to think about it, but they don't treat me any differently. And then I came out to my dad first, and I was a little worried, but...
By the way, came out as what?
Bisexual.
Okay.
And my dad's response was, and I quote, "I like pussy. I get why you would too." And that was the end of it. That was it. That was it. And then, my mom and my sister just FaceTimed me last night saying, "You have to see what we just got you." And there's some spatulas and a whisk, and they're Pride colors, but they're Pride and Star Wars. And she was like, "You're going to love them." And I was like, "Yeah, duh."
Yeah, coincidentally, I was watching The Orville just before the show started, and it happened to be the episode with the heterosexual Macklin. which is sort of a flipping the script of the whole gay thing, being seen as being heterosexual on his planet is regarded the same way how homosexuality is regarded here. So it's kind of telling that story.
Oh, there's a big gap in that story concept. If everything's homosexual, then where do the new citizens come from?
An
Or don't
egg.
they die? Or
They lay an egg.
To a certain
Okay.
sect of... Oh, sorry, go ahead. To a certain...
I thought I had finally come up with an original concept for a race of aliens. That I had a race that they were all trans, that basically they're all born male, and they go through puberty as males, and then kind of like, when it would be kind of like a sort of another puberty menopause thing, that they transition into females like 20 years later. So basically there are no young females and there are no old males. And I thought this was such an original concept, and now I've learned that, nature already took that. More AEs do that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm.
There's a number of
Clownfish do
species
that too.
There's also a species of lizard that they're all female, and then one of them will start acting more like a male.
I know lizards, and she'll go trigger all the rest of them into estrus, and they'll produce eggs. She's not really a male or anything. She just like goes into a polyphenic state where she starts expressing as a male.
Yeah.
And she doesn't have sex with them either. She just kind of triggers them to do it.
Well,
I love Brie with the animal sex.
I knew that
that's
there were some fish and some amphibians that did that
slugs,
about
fish, frogs.
that if
They're evil
if the male was eliminated from the group, that the largest female would become male.
Nature doesn't give us
Are
it.
all female lizards
thing
are
was, like,
pathogenic.
What I was thinking of and what the eels do is it's every single one of them. It's not a unique thing that only a few of them do. It's just every one of them, as part of their natural maturing, changes gender.
maybe it means that transgender people are actually lizards.
Don't let Alex Jones hear you.
Bree, I have a question for you.
Yes, I am a lizard.
Bree, do you know?
Fucking
Bree, don't say that
frogs
too many
and lizard
times. Do not say that too many times. That will be cut. So, what do you know of cuttlefish?
Like the cephalopods. What do you want? What do you want to know about them? They're pretty wicked.
That's when people are like, "Hey, what about this?" And I'm like, "What do you want to know?" There's one of my semi-favorite TERFs. She always uses this really shitty argument of she basically calls trans people in general cuttlefish.
Oh, because they sneak the smaller males will sneak into another male's harem and like mate with his females, pretend to be a female, and sneak in there and mate with his. That's what they're afraid of. I mean, that's the argument, right?
I'd rather
the same argument with bringing with ending segregation and stuff. Was now these black people are going to come in and sleep with our women. That's what it always is, isn't it? These white
they're coming
Christian
for our women.
folks. They're coming for our white women.
That's where the original drug was.
How many 60s sci-fi shows were based on that the aliens were going to come and abduct a bunch of women for breeding?
Yeah,
it's a lot of more 80s sci-fi movies were like that.
Bree, I would rather be considered a dragonfly. Don't they have a similar strategy?
Dragonflies? I did not. I was not aware that dragonflies practice. I don't know that they don't.
Really, I know something about a bug that you don't know. Dragonflies have been documented on film as being cross-dressing prostitutes.
Oh,
good for them.
A male dragonfly will tuck his genitals away and take a pose on a branch and wait for another male to bring a bug to offer him, and he will let the other male mount him as he's eating it.
Yes.
That's
okay.
Hot.
So now the next time I see a dragonfly, I can say, "You tucked or you stuffed?"
Okay, Microraptor was trying to get something in there.
No, I was just like trying to ask I was just saying how they are represented, but you explained it.
Okay, I'm just amazed that I knew something about a bug that Bree didn't know.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, that's cool though. I'm adding it to my bank. So, and it's like I said, that's kind of. I guess it's like a trap kink. I guess that they have.
Yeah,
or
prevent
a
the males from mating with the females. So afterwards, the male that pretended to be a female goes off and mates with the actual female.
yeah. Did you see my gay beetles I had?
No.
Oh my gosh, it was so cool. So I have these reddish brown stag beetles. They're pretty big. They're one of the bigger beetles that we have here in Western Illinois. But they the males, I was hoping they would, because the female gets in stag beetles, she gets kind of I don't want to say turned on, but she gets her hormones triggered by the males wrestling with each other and throwing each other around. That's what triggers her mating response. So I decided to put the males together. I had 2 males and a female, and with the female in there so she could see them fighting and go through their process, and I'd catch it all on video, and I was going to record it and share it. And instead of fighting, the males ran up to each other and immediately started having like gay sex. And she watched the whole time, and she was like into it, doing her bob, like how the females bob when they're receptive and stuff and whatnot. Then the male that was the top, he kind of passed out, and the other male went and mounted the female, and that's how it went.
The voyeur beetle.
It was kind of like
Okay.
yeah, it was like reverse cuckoldry. I don't know.
Been there, done that.
But being gay is totally unnatural.
Right.
They must have seen
Yeah.
seen humans do it.
But I got
that's
it on
the thing,
video on my channel if you all ever want to go watch it. It's
Yeah, people who argue about being gay being unnatural, that researchers in the field have documented like 500 species from insects to primates having gay sex.
Back in high school, we
Isn't
had
there
a couple of. Back in
What
high
was
school,
that, Micro?
Isn't it the thousands of species?
Maybe
Yeah, there's
it's more, but
thousands.
that's, yeah.
Micro,
Yeah.
your sound is kind of
muffled.
muffled. Yeah,
Okay.
it's hard to hear you.
Yeah, sorry. Isn't it thousands of species, not just hundreds?
yeah.
Yeah.
There's hundreds of just mammals. There's hundreds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was just saying, back in high school, we had gay rabbits.
Mhm.
We put the males together, and they'd go at it. Put a female in there, ignored her.
Are you just maybe you're thinking of Bugs Bunny?
No, this is in our high school. When I was back in high school years ago.
I checked out.
Didn't he dress a lot? But
I mean, to me, it would make sense that if there's it would make sense that every mammal would have gay members of its species.
Right, just because.
I just
Biology.
I just found 9 fraudulent charges on my credit card.
Oh,
Whoa.
crap.
Fuck.
Shit.
Oh,
I recently had to deal with that as well.
It's my fault. I have a black card and I buy everything off the internet. I'm surprised this didn't happen sooner. But I've been getting charged like $87, $27, $67, $45 for a year every month.
Whoa.
Like a local.
But somebody's been majorly ripping me off.
well, it's been going on for a year and you didn't do anything about it earlier?
You
I
didn't
pay
know?
I'm extremely privileged. I see a bill and I pay it. I don't even question it. I just pay it.
I
Yeah.
pay close attention to that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I'm
every
with-
month
I'm with
before
the
I pay
goblin
my bill, I
selling.
review it.
Well,
I spend
you
too
should
much
let me
time
check
thinking
that out.
about
Could you give me your number?
No, I should be on top of it. I'm just totally watching hockey and smoking a J, laying on my shag carpet when I should be paying attention to my card. Now that's gay. You have to balance your gay. You have to balance your gay or you're going to get ripped off on your credit card.
Yeah, I recently had to deal with that myself. They ran off with over $300 out of my account.
I'm much more into women than men, so I'm absolutely not balancing my gay.
They called me. Oh, sorry, Microraptor.
It's very much towards the gay and not a lot of straight.
They called me Sloth Girl. That's it. I just got off the phone with them right now. But my credit card company, like, I'm on first name basis with them. So
Hey, Slim.
Drama.
Hello.
How's it going, Slim?
What did you? How did they say it? Will, you're aggressively bi?
Oh, I say that all the time. You know why I say that? Because I was in relationship with men exclusively up until I met my ex-wife.
Oh,
I think I might be the only one who's cis here.
We'll change that.
And I do. Nowadays, cougars love me.
And do you mean you're the only one that's still cis? Because I think most of us were cis at one point, right?
No, I'm not sure I ever was.
I don't think I was hiding.
Or presenting as cis, I guess.
Unfortunately, for more than 50 years, I had to pretend to be, but I don't think I was.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to. That would fill out that if you'd fill out your census as cis or whatever, right?
So somehow, if we go by extreme technicalities, I'm technically cis and trans. So there you go.
How do you manage that?
I have no idea.
You just make it up. You just do that.
I just do the thing.
Sure.
My rules are whatever. Just wash your hands. And don't ruin my life. Don't ruin my life. Used to be number one, but now it's whatever. Just wash your hands. So I have a quick question: did Sloth Girl get a computer? Because I miss Sloth Girl, and I see Sloth Girl in the chat.
We had gotten Sloth Girl a laptop a while back, but she needed some other equipment for it. So
she was in pun prison. She was doing too many puns, and they arrested her and took her away for a while.
That's not punny. That's not punny at all, Jenny.
Actually, for most of the shows, she has had it on and she has listened while she was doing her other projects. So she's usually been lurking in the background. Because when I go up there and talk to her, she, brings up questions about things we talked about. So I know she's been watching it.
Awesome.
All right, guys, I got to bounce. It's been fun hanging out with you, though.
Oh, it was nice seeing you,
Good
Bruce.
talk to you.
Okay, well, good to have you anytime.
Nice to have you here.
Bye.
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 So,
That reminds me.
Purple,
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, with the topic being on Sloth Girl, how is she liking the thing that I made her? Like, is it working out well? Does she need anything else?
Yeah, it worked out real well for her, when she had to go to the hospital, that she was able to have all of her needles together there.
I'm glad.
Or all of her hooks, rather, sorry.
Well, I knew what you
Hooks,
meant.
not needles. I know, but she'll beat me up later if I get that wrong.
Oh, all right. Fair. Wouldn't want that.
I'd pay money to see that. Hi, Slim. How you doing?
Oh,
well,
I'm good.
And she may strike you as, being a little thing at only 5 foot tall, but yeah, you really don't want to let that loose, so.
Are you kidding me? I've known people. I've seen someone that's 5 feet tall clear a crowd. Never underestimate someone's size.
Well, one of my best friends who unfortunately moved out to Oregon many years ago. Yeah, it's you don't want to get her riled up. She would definitely take out 3 or 4 people without a problem.
When I was in high school,
Sloth Girl, the riot girl.
when I was in high school, I got into this beef with one of the wrestlers. He was the lightweight, Jeff Rummel, and he was somewhere around 5'1", 5'2", literally weighed 98 pounds, and he kicked my ass, and I was a full 10 inches, well, almost full 10 inches taller than him, and outweighed him by 100 pounds, and I was in the middle of my conditioning for swim season, and he still kicked my ass. It happens.
Yeah, so not like you were out of shape.
No, I wasn't. I was way down on skills. He was a wrestler and very good at it, and he just pinned my ass.
Yeah, Orla, I kind of have the same problem that I'm a horrible slut, but I have not been with anybody in quite a few years. Just mostly because I'm too timid to actually go beyond the stage of just talking to people to it becoming anything else.
I know, going to what Jenny was saying, like, I did martial arts when I was in high school, and I was really good at sparring and grappling, and you'd have these full-grown men that had at least 100-something pounds on me, and I could literally make them my bitch on the mat. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I did high school wrestling, and I actually got a silver medal. But there was this one guy who was like half my, well, not half, but like I had a foot on him, and it was like fighting it was like trying to wrestle a warthog. He really knew how to use his size to his advantage. I beat him. Like I'd beat him in practice and stuff, but it was not easy.
I had a roommate who was actually taking martial arts, and yeah, he would not spar with me anymore just because I never learned to pull a punch. So when I actually got one through, it really hurt.
I took Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for a while, and like Sensei taught he not great guy, but he's like nasty in a fight. He's like, here's how you block a punch with your elbow so that you break the hand of the person who's punching you.
Well, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's like, take it in the elbow, it'll hurt your elbow, it'll break their fist.
Well, yeah, I got taught some fighting by one of my foster brothers who had been an MP in Germany, where they weren't allowed to carry weapons off the base. So, he was teaching me how you disarm somebody with anything you can find.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the main tactics he pointed out was the collarbone's actually fairly thin, and you give a good solid wrap on the collarbone, the arm's going to go limp, and there's no way they're going to hold on to anything.
Yeah, he's like, if you want to stop someone, punch them in the sternum and break it. That'll stop them real quick.
You break the xiphoid process, you're in danger of punching cardiac and killing them. Just so you know.
He told us that. He said, never start a fight. He was big on never starting a fight, but if someone wants to start a fight with you, then you are fully within your right to fuck them up and defending yourself.
I actually know. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
That's his take on it. I would rather not seriously injure anyone unless they're a real asshole. But yeah,
I know someone that did 20 years in prison for killing somebody in a street fight. He's actually my friend. He's a black albino, so he's not hard to miss.
Shit.
But he, in Hollywood, he got in a fist fight in the 70s, and he offed some guy.
Whew.
Don't start a fight. But if you do get into a fight, win.
Yeah, he said don't. He would also like don't actually go far enough to kill somebody, but fuck them up so that they won't do it to anyone else.
That particular injury can also occur if you do CPR on somebody and you position your hands too low in the sternum.
Yeah,
So,
I have my CPR, so I know that. Someone in a wrestling tournament I was in, someone actually broke another person's sternum too, and like he was a small, wiry dude, and it was nasty.
That reminds me, I need to recertify for CPR. Mine's lapsed.
I get mine every year, and this year, that reminds me, this year Isaiah's coming with me because he's designated driver size. He's almost my size. So it's time to, I'm trying to teach him all the man stuff, how to drive, how to shave. Don't be a dick.
That's an important one.
How to whack off, different styles.
People figure that out on their own, Jenny. That is that's like your batting stance. You come to that on your own. Are you kidding me?
I've never heard it equivalent. Never mind. Fucking bad.
I'm ambidextrous, and my third year in baseball, my dad looks at my brother, and they're like, "Do you want to tell him he bats left-handed?" I just went up to the plate, and that's how I batted.
Yeah, I'm partially ambidextrous. I can't transfer skills between hands, but I'm like I can learn things equally with each hand, and I don't have a dominant hand. So I cannot play baseball because when I play hockey, I shoot left, right, and when I play goalie, I catch with my right hand and hold my stick in my left hand. So then if I'm playing baseball, I cannot throw with my left hand and I cannot catch with my right hand.
I couldn't even write my own name with my left hand until I was 25.
I can't write with my left hand at all. It's just not something I've learned. Like I said, I can't transfer skills between my hands, but
I can do most things with either hand. Most tools I can use fairly well with either hand. My handwriting is illegible no matter which hand I use. So
I have pretty bad handwriting too.
Well, I've actually had the theory that I was supposed to be left-handed, and they trained me out of it.
They did that in my.
That makes sense.
In my day, I was left-handed, and they snapped me right out of it.
Although autism also, people with autism tend to have worse handwriting. Like, obviously nothing against them, just, something I've noticed.
That's people with disabilities in general. Like, somebody that has Down syndrome or somebody that has MS or, Yeah,
my signature for my name has been compared to that of a doctor's.
I like to say that I have third generation doctor's writing because my mom and grandma are nurses.
Really quick, if I find whoever hacked my card, I'm really into torture and not self-torture.
Yeah.
And I'm patient.
Could you film it?
Gladly.
We don't need any snuff films here, Jenny. Just saying.
I had a doctor
No kink shaming.
All right, hit my DMs then.
No kink shaming.
I had a doctor who flat out told me that since the stereotype was so ingrained, he didn't even try anymore, that he just did the first letter in a long squiggly line.
Do you know, I signed my mother and my father's name so much that when my mom signs on certain things, people have turned it in as forgery.
I have Barack Obama's signature, and it's sloppy as fuck except the first two letters, and he puts them on top of each other, so it just says B.O.
I'm
dead serious. That's not a put down. It's just the way it is.
One of the reasons I chose May as my name is because it's one letter different from my dead name, so I wouldn't have to relearn how to sign my name. And then I changed my last name, and it's completely different.
That is something I have been practicing. That I've had to practice signing my new name. So I haven't got it formalized, and I haven't started all the paperwork for it yet. But I know it's something I have to work on. Otherwise, I'm going to, without thinking, be signing the wrong name.
I am really very upset at the the existence of the internet, you do so much communicating, but now it's all by typing or talking, and I've lost most of my muscle memory for my cursive writing, which used to be fairly nice. My signature is terribly ornate, and I just can barely do it now. It's like, damn. I know that I could relearn it, because if I do write something by the end of the page, I'm good again. But geez, you just want to write a couple of lines, and it looks like sixth grade.
What's that, Raptor?
You could do the Donald Trump thing, just a line up and down.
Yeah.
My name, I can't really write in cursive or even read it anymore.
Jenny, you don't write at all? Like, I still journal. Like, I still keep notes, and that has saved my cursive.
Okay, this is something that I wonder about. That
electronically.
Yep. We now have a whole generation of kids that they didn't even teach cursive in school. So what do they do when they actually have to sign their name on a legal form?
Well, they print it.
Quite honestly, in one of the work memos, I was told to not write in cursive on work orders.
Yeah, I could not believe that my nephew graduated high school and could not write his name in cursive.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I wish they would teach cursive. I don't think they should grade your handwriting. Fuck that. But teach kids how to do cursive and let them make their choice. Whatever.
Why?
Taught it.
Unfortunately, though, are we a society? Are like I still write notes. I walk around with my notepad. People think I'm crazy. They're like, "Why don't you just put it in your phone?" But I'm tactile.
Yeah, well, at some point, usually dealing with the government, you're going to have forms that you've got to fill things in on the specified spaces and blanks. And there's no way you can type that, and you can't transfer it from your phone. You're going to have to do it by hand at some point.
Actually, writing things down physically can actually improve your ability to memorize that thing.
It can, but
yes.
That's not a rule. It makes me
it's not always.
I had a teacher who was really big on that and thought it was a universal thing.
No, it's not always the case.
No, my handwriting is terrible. I'm never going to be able to read my own notes, and I hate this and don't want to do it. And you're not teaching me anything other than that I don't want to learn from you.
Also, I also imagine it has to do with how much you're doing it.
Yeah. And actually, he was the auto shop teacher. They got him to teach a wood shop course because it was really my school had the best wood shop in probably the country or something like that.
I imagine eventually your brain's just gonna put that action into automatic, and you'll just be doing it, not really thinking about it.
Yeah. I just writing stuff is not for me, and if it was required less, I probably would have done a lot better in school, because that is not I do not learn very well like that.
Yeah, well, in one way, my bad handwriting was encouraged because it meant that nobody could read my journals.
I never thought about that. So that means a whole generation won't be able to decipher what I'm writing.
Well, I've already been saying that now cursive is like a secret code language that no one under 30 will understand.
I didn't even think about that because I write only in cursive. But I was indoctrinated young. Back in my day, I don't know about anybody else. They got us young. Like in the 3rd, 4th grade, those were the grades where you learned your letters, so to speak.
I was learning cursive since grade 1.
Well, I in America, we're a little bit different. We go by freedom units here.
But yeah, I can't. Cursive really, really, really fucks with my dyslexia. My writing is extremely weird, and I do weird things with capitals and stuff. and I think it's just something mostly so that I can like understand what I'm writing. So like I'm doing it in a way that doesn't bother my dyslexia, I think. So yeah,
I
I write.
expect the dyslexia was part of my problem with the writing never coming out very well either.
Yeah, I have dyslexia to the point where sometimes the letters actually do look like they're moving on the page.
Yep, and most of the default computer fonts I can't understand at all. Like I cannot understand them because like RN looks exactly like M to me.
I'm a very slow reader because I usually have to like read the sentence 3 or 4 times in order to get all the letters and words in the correct order.
Yeah, me too. But then I also have severe ADHD, so I don't have the patience for that. So I misread things a lot.
Now's not the time to mention that I worked as a journalist and writer for 7 years.
Cool.
So I have a question, the Sinister Porpoise. What should I do with my 15 to 20 years of journals? Should I stop being lazy and write a book?
I don't plan on doing anything with my journals because my journals are just, maybe someone will read them after I die, but I expect they won't really be important to anyone.
I expect that, with most people's journals and diaries, it's just kind of to put things down for yourself without expecting anyone else to ever see them.
Well, who knows? In 10,000 years, it might be interesting.
Well, okay. They're going to have to preserve mine because my death wish is they understand enough about the process now. So I want them to put my body somewhere that it's going to become fossilized. So in a couple thousand years, I can become a museum exhibit. And if they've got my journals to go with that, wouldn't that be an awesome exhibit?
That's how I feel. And I know quite a few people that have written a book, and I read it and I'm like, wow, I never knew that about you. Like they had this whole other life, So I don't know. Everybody has Hobbit adventures, You never know who would be into it and who's not into it.
Yep.
That's why I encourage people, like with my sewing. One day, a friend of mine came to me and she's like, dude, you need to go on Instagram. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And she's like, you have a walk-in closet and over 300 pieces that you've already sewn. And I didn't realize the power of the digital era,
Yep. Well, I am working on my third novel. The first one no one should ever see. The second one I can probably preserve about 25 pages and, rewrite the rest of it. It's something that most people don't realize about writing. If you're reading a 300-page novel, the writer had to write over 1,000 pages to get that.
Yeah, and usually the writer will have written several books before they actually publish one.
Unless they're trashy, like bodice ripper style, like novellas, then those are just,
the
wham,
Harlequin
bam, bam.
romances or that,
I can't.
You guys, I gotta move my position, so I'm gonna be off for a little bit, but I won't log off. The sun's starting to hit me, and I'm going to overheat.
If you drop out, I'll let you right back in as soon as you get back.
Okay.
I kept.
I like the smiley duck.
When my grandmother passed away, I kept all of her trashy novels. They make me laugh.
Ow! Jenny's smiley duck made me happy.
What's up, Skits Crasher?
That is stuffed animal abuse. Hey, Skits. I think I left you thought I left you a link on Discord, but maybe I didn't get to yours today.
No, no one here has read a trashy novel. Where's that one about that weird mammoth tribe?
Oh, I've read a number of trashy novels over my time, but
I've read a ton. Supernatural reverse harem. Those are my jam.
Oh, that sounds amazing. See, I found this really cheesy book about a tribe of mammoth herders.
Okay.
And I was like, wow, that's 2 days I will never get back. But it was like an old trashy beach novel from the 50s or 60s.
Do the Harriet Rested novels count?
I love Dan Brown. Some people consider those trashy novels.
Yeah. I didn't hate it, didn't like it.
Have you ever read Deception Point?
Yeah. Well, I got the audiobook of Da Vinci Code, and strictly as a novel, not believing that a single word of it, it was kind of a fun adventure novel.
Oh, they're great. I'm a total shill because I have been sick my whole life, so I read books. I love Dan Brown. Absolutely love Dan Brown.
If you want to read some just fucking absolutely out there like little novellas, there's an author. He's on Twitter too. His pen name is Chuck Tingle.
Oh my.
And like Kenny JD, she does Bad Movies in a Beat. Like she actually covered some of these novels in her video from last weekend. And one of them is basically about a couple that want to have sex with their Mothman mailman. Or then there's the the
Mothman mailman.
Yes, and then there's the personification of Wordle wants to pound me in my butt kind of thing. Like it's crazy out there off the wall, but fucking hilarious.
Yeah, Lavender Lady's mentioned him a number of times. I've never actually looked him up.
Fucking hilarious.
Okay, but I need to take a moment for some extra shout outs here. Because Skids Crasher keeps sending me money pretty much every month. And Mark Caesar has become my largest donor on Patreon at the $10 a month level.
Cool.
So, really appreciate you people. And I'm amazed that anyone is sending me money for doing this.
It's because we love you and the content that you put out. You are a hub of the community that we all like to congregate around, and we have really good conversations, and we make really meaningful connections with the people here.
I wouldn't even be on here if it wasn't for you.
See, there you go.
I'm an atheist. I hang out. I do not congregate. I will not join your church. I will not. I'm just kidding. Well, on the church part, I'm not kidding.
And Perp, if you
The Church of the Sauropod, the Almighty Sauropod.
Perp, if you didn't lay down with my mother 68 years ago, I wouldn't be here.
Stargate episode. That is literally a Stargate episode.
Yeah, I haven't got the time machine yet, so we haven't gotten around to that.
Well, see, I'm just letting you know it is going to happen.
It's always the solar flare.
Okay, Jenny?
Yeah?
Why do you think it was me? You don't have any neck frill. I don't see any brow horns.
I had the horns cut off for the ivory.
Oh, gosh.
By the way, folks, you're looking at the intersection of Highway 16 and 70, State Highways 16 and 76 in southeastern Minnesota. If you want to check it out on Google Earth, you'll see exactly where we are.
Except on Google Earth, you won't get a happy ducky.
Minnesota, eh? Yeah, I can't do that accent.
My dad lived in Minnesota for quite a while.
Well, I had lived here for 25 years before I met my fiance. So then I moved to New York to be with her, and after she died, I got stuck in Michigan. But yeah, it was, all along, I was trying to get back to Minnesota because it's the only place that ever felt like home to me. That when I brought my fiance, back to meet my family and all, she actually said that we had made a mistake, and if she had known anything about it, she would have come to Minnesota instead.
Do a search in Google for gay pride and see what happens.
Uh-oh.
Sure.
Who's taking it? Is someone taking it over? I hope it's not like Matt Walsh or any of those people.
Yay! I expected something like that from Google.
Yeah, okay.
Because,
That's
you know.
fun. Yeah, I thought Google would just be doing some funny graphics.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But interestingly, according to Wiki here, the term gay pride was crafted by Tom Higgins, a gay rights activist in Minnesota.
Cool.
I don't know him.
I think I just doxed
No.
myself, everybody. Now everybody knows where I work. Oops. Like I care.
Hey, Perp, could you share that Google? That's her banner is different?
You know what, Slim?
You're going to have to go to it, Jenny, because it's an animation. I can't share that.
Yeah, it's a scroll.
Oh, okay.
I've doxed myself a few times. If you just keep talking, no one will notice. How are you? How are you, Porpoise?
Well, I probably should be working on the philosophy paper, and I've got some statistics stuff to do. And I think I've got an interview tomorrow, getting ready to go to a trip to... Wow, I'm just information dumping. Getting ready to head for a trip to Lexington, Kentucky tomorrow.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm going to have to take a trip probably weekend after this. My car has completely given up. It's beyond anything being done for it. So in the meantime, my brother has offered me his behemoth of a truck. So at least I have something to get around, but I have to take the bus down to Milwaukee in order to pick it up.
How much does the bus cost down in Milwaukee?
I had looked at it. I think it was like $85. So
Check
it actually varies with which day you go.
Check the price on a train. It was $40 for me to get from there to here.
Unfortunately, the train does not come through St. Cloud, so.
Oh, well, easier to get to. Oh, well, whatever.
Yeah.
It's funny you'd say that because I used to take a Greyhound a lot when I was in my 20s. And one day I discovered Amtrak, which was considerably cheaper.
Well, I used to take the Greyhound a lot too, just because Amtrak did not go to where my, had family.
Greyhound basically fucked off from my country. But I there's like a these ugly green school buses that go everywhere I need to go. So
yeah, I really wish the U.S. would seriously invest in intercity rail. I think it's something that we really should have.
So should my country.
Our Greyhound.
It'd be much easier if the train went to my hometown.
Our Greyhound here in California. I haven't been on it. In a long time. But when I was on the Greyhound, it was awful. Like you'd pull up to a stop and the cops would be there with drug dogs. And in California, when you get out of prison, and I don't think it's a bad thing, but I've seen crazy stuff. Basically, people that get out of prison get to ride the Greyhound for free. And the Greyhound will take them anywhere in California.
Oh yeah.
That's nice.
Well, part of the reason you have so many homeless people in California is because several states, in order to get somebody off of the welfare rolls, will give them a free ticket to anywhere in the country.
I say this all the time. It's Pennsylvania. If you go and ask, and I know we've had this conversation, and because I work with an organization that helps LGBTQIA youth, I kind of know the reasons why. But Pennsylvania loves sending their children to California. They can't stop sending their children here.
Yeah.
Oh. What do you mean, children?
7 to 25.
Alone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In LA, it is not rare to see an 8-year-old who ran away and made it all the way to California.
Oh, I have a story on how I found out that my neighbor was gay. He used to have a boat, and me and some of the neighborhood kids were screwing around. And one of the kids jumped up on his boat, and he's going around, picks up this piece of cardboard and holds it up and says, "What's this?" And the other two of us were just kind of looking at it and said, "Look on the other side." And he flipped it around, and the other side written on it was, "I am a homosexual." That's how I found out my neighbor was gay.
Actually, Will, the thing you say about kids running away to California, I'm one of those. Yeah,
To be fair, if you lived in Pennsylvania during the winter, you'd want to go to California too.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in the Chicago suburbs, and when I was 15, me and a friend of mine stole a credit card and got on the Greyhound, and we got all the way out to San Diego before they found us.
It happens.
So I took the Greyhound from Chicago to San Diego.
Oh, that scares me. That's as a parent, that scares me.
And to this day, I will say, if there are aliens on this planet, the guy who was in the back seat of the bus on the last leg of that trip was one of them.
It's actually really sad, and every once in a while I have to take a month off or a break or something, because it just seems like there's a never-ending flux of people that come here to be homeless.
Hey,
Okay, who's going to Silent Hill?
Oh yeah, first Wednesday of the month. Ours will be going off here too.
Every time I hear that, I'm like, all right, we had a good run.
It's right after. Wait a minute. It should have gone off already, like 5 minutes ago. Huh?
Air raid siren?
Yeah. Well, mostly they use them for storm warnings here when a tornado's approaching.
Oh,
But
okay.
they test it every, the first Wednesday of the month at 1 o'clock.
In my hometown, there were fire whistles, and they set them off every day, every weekday at noon.
Oh.
Where I lived in Michigan, they had used it for the curfew siren until they had to abolish the curfew.
Listen, every child should know when the lights come on, you have to be home.
My son wants to show off a Lego build that he did. He wanted to make a flower, and all I can think is, feed me, Seymour.
Oh, awesome.
Hold on, let me make you bigger.
No, that's fine.
Let's see it.
There we go.
So,
I love it.
and there's a little spider.
Very nice.
Very cool. Very cool.
They say it's very cool, and that you did a good job.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. People are always welcome to share their Lego builds here.
The gardener here approves.
Honest, all I could think of was that it's, fucking Audrey 3 or Audrey 2.
Audrey 2.
I said Audrey 3 because I actually had in Pokemon Go, my fucking Venusaur I named Audrey 3. So, I love that movie. I love Rick Moranis. Like, I miss him, from acting.
He is sort of coming back out of retirement from what I hear.
Well, I mean, the whole reason he retired in the first place was because his wife died and he wanted to spend more time with his kids. And, totally respect,
Yeah, definitely admirable reason.
But still sucks because I fucking love his movies.
Have you seen the original ending to that movie?
I don't remember. I haven't seen the movie in at least 10 years.
The Blu-ray version restored the original ending with the "Don't Feed the Plants" song.
I do vaguely remember that. So I'll say yes.
Right.
Another one of my guilty pleasure films to watch, and I'll watch it during Pride, is Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I've actually never seen that.
I know that it's problematic. I get it, but that's the point of a guilty pleasure, right? It's something, that I had as a kid that I absolutely loved watching and dancing along to the songs. And
gatekeeping the past is weird. Like, it's already happened. If someone did it now, it'd be different. but like gatekeeping the past is strange.
Well,
Yeah.
and you know, while these movies from the past and that, like you say, they may seem problematic today, a lot of them did actually help the movement because they got people talking about the issues. They exposed the ideas to people who normally wouldn't have seen anything to do with them.
There's a lot of things like that. I mean, even like blackface, for example, will helped to get black people into Broadway.
You're not gonna win me over with that one. I agree with
No,
you.
I mean, I'm
but
not
you're
saying
gonna-
I'm not saying
I'm not
that
saying it's right.
Yeah, I'm not saying that there weren't terrible things involved with that, and it probably shouldn't have been in the first place or anything. But I'm just saying it, or even like the Mammy thing. Yes, there are all horrible
Good
racist
look,
aspects to
camera.
that, and it was used to try and justify
Okay, well,
slavery.
You-
but
I
it was
have a better
also-
I have a better example. Blazing Saddles, because it was a satire and it was over the top, but it was also satirizing racism, you know. So some people say Blazing Saddles is problematic, but I saw it as political satire, you know, just taking pot shots at racists being racist.
Again, it's a
I-
younger generation going back and analyzing something that was before they were even born. I try to look at things with objectivity because what happens is that we come with these modern day glasses and then we end up judging people. And
Yeah.
let me tell you, put under a microscope, I don't think any of us would survive.
Yeah, we can't really use modern glasses.
And then
to always
there's
judge the
also
past.
there's also the issue of people throwing around labels, like calling somebody who's obviously not racist a racist. Like if you call everybody and everything racist, then you're literally removing the meaning of that word and you're desensitizing.
You can't.
I think
you
the
can't tell-
people,
You can't
the
tell
people who have driven it to the point that Blazing Saddles isn't played on any TV stations anymore just shows how many people don't understand what satire is.
And also, I think back to what Judy was saying, a lot of people have become insensitive. And so if a person of color is saying hey, that's racist, it's because they see it as being racist. If they call you racist, it's because you were being racist.
The other side of that is, first of all, the other side of that is sometimes it's like people jump to people's defense when it's just like someone jumped on me on Twitter because I was trying to let someone know it's like, hey, you're essentially saying I'm not transphobic, and you're being transphobic.
Yeah,
It's like,
anytime you put that but in, everything that you type after that point has been neutralized already.
no, it could be something unrelated. Totally.
I'm not sure if
but
I
most people-
entirely agree with that.
To pick up on Will's point, people were, I don't know, it was a combination of more bigoted and foul-mouthed years and years ago, in terms of like racial slurs and sexuality slurs and that sort of thing, but also the society was not as sensitive as it is now.
Yeah, but I also think
here's my example on Young Frankenstein. If anybody has seen the original, and it's a shame that I have to say the original, you remember the line where they're at the dinner table and they're discussing Frankenstein's the monster's anatomy, and Terry Gar speaks a line, "Oh, he would have a very big Schwanzducker." They cut that out.
that might just be a TV edit.
No, it's not. I've seen it on 2 different networks.
Which networks?
One was PBS, and the other one was this TV or.
So yeah, it's probably a TV edit.
I'm kind of
two.
surprised that
PBS.
PBS even played it, although PBS is not known for editing things. They tend to let them go.
Yeah, they do. They absolutely do.
Jenny is right about something. People have become wieners, like really sensitive about things. And people like it just wasn't like that back in the day.
The other example I wanted to offer is back when I was a kid. I clearly remember television. Because I was curious about it. I was wondering, well, why don't they say these words on TV? That kind of thing. And I would listen and pay attention. They used to censor the expression "God damn it" by going "God bleep." Nowadays, it's "bleep damn it."
Yeah, but I think you really could make Blazing Saddles today, though, because Blazing Saddles, it's pretty easy to grasp that they're making fun of the type of person.
The problem is it's not what's coming out. It's that we have access to each other to whine at each other.
Yeah,
But
well,
also,
maybe another 10 or 15 years we'll be able to make it again.
as someone pointed out, why would you make Blazing Saddles today? It's already been made.
Well, the problem with them showing Blazing Saddles these days is that they don't want it to be okay to make fun of racists.
Why? I make fun of Tucker Carlson all the time.
Yeah, but the people on the right, don't want it to be okay for you to make fun of them being racist.
Yeah, it's white fragility.
Yeah.
Why? Starship Troopers is definitely making fun of them.
I love Starship Troopers.
Yeah, but they think it's making them look good, so it's fine.
It's not.
Well, that's why I said they think it.
Starship Troopers just came out 20 years ahead of its time.
There was a British sitcom called Rab C. Nesbitt that in one episode featured a trans character played by David Tennant. It's massively problematic by today's standards. I'm not familiar with that one at all.
Well, let's go with a more U.S. example. Bosom Buddies.
How about something even more edgy? Soap.
I watched that.
Yes.
But Bosom Buddies is where Tom Hanks got his start.
Well, Soap is where Billy Crystal got his start.
Yes.
Billy did a skit in one of my videos with the Nell Carter show. Gosh, like 9 months ago, I cut out an entire part of the skit. It was where one cop was telling another, like, "Hey, I'm gay." It was total 1980s in your face, but I had to cut out this entire part because they were trying to catch somebody who was robbing ladies at a laundromat. So of course they dressed the rookie up as a woman. And so I'm watching this and I'm like, wow, like I can't even put this out, and I'm fairly desensitized, So I cut out what was gonna be 15 minutes to like 4 minutes. I had to cut all the parts out.
I remember one good episode of Barney Miller. They had a guy in the station who was cross-dressed because he was the victim of a mugging. So they had him there making a report, and he goes through the whole thing, but then at the end it's like he has to call a friend to come and pick him up. And then he's trying to make an excuse to his friend that, well, when they beat me up, they took my clothes, so I had to just grab whatever I could find. And his friend's like, "Oh, okay, we'll get you home. Where, you got your keys?" And he says, "Yeah, they're in my purse."
I was going to make this meme. I was going to make this meme for the Uvalde police. He's saying the police we need, and it's going to be RoboCop, and next one was going to be the police we got, and it was going to be Barney Fife. But then I realized Barney Fife would have shown more courage.
Barney Fife would have went running in there, hat falling off and everything.
Don Knotts did such an incredible job with that character. It ended up being the only character he ever played for the rest of his life, but he really did that well.
Hold on, did he do the Andy Griffith Show first? Because he had several characters like that before that.
Well, he did wind up playing that character the rest of his life because even in the Cartoon Network series Ben 10, he voiced a character that yeah, wound up being the same incompetent law enforcement from another planet.
I completely forgot what I was going to say.
What did he play that character in before Andy Griffith?
He was a comedic actor in dozens of movies.
When I was in high school, I had a 1969 black VW Beetle, and can anyone guess what I named it?
Blackie?
Herbie.
Yeah.
Herbie. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
no, Herbie was white.
I know.
Yeah.
I didn't
Couldn't
care.
Herbie be green?
I didn't care. I didn't care at all, and everybody got the reference too, and everyone called it Herbie too. And
As far as Don Knoxx goes, I'd have to look up the dates because I'm not sure quite when the Andy Griffith Show was made, but you know, he was a
60s.
regular in the Disney stables, so he did play a similar character in a lot of Disney live action movies.
Yeah, Mr. Limpet and those kind of films. But
The
those were
Incredible
all,
Mr. Limpet. Wasn't he in the Apple Dumpling Gang? I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, he was.
He was in Three's Company.
yeah. That was almost color.
We were waiting for and see Godless Scummer. Thank you, Jeff. Jeff gets it. We're
I was
around the
surprised he
same
wasn't in
age.
Matlock.
I loved Three's Company. I was obsessed with that show.
I loved Perfect Strangers.
With Balky.
I thought Joyce DeWitt was pretty hot.
Don Knotts didn't
Susan
voice
Summers, you can
anything
keep her.
from Ben 10.
Mage, was Don Knotts Ben 10's grandfather's voice?
No,
No.
I don't see
No,
anything on
Don
here.
Knoxx played this fish alien.
Oh, okay.
Are you sure? Because he's not showing up on IMDb here as being on that show.
Well, it was probably one episode.
Because
No, it was a recurring character. I'm surprised.
when Isaiah was younger, he would binge shows. And so he would go through these, like, I'm going to watch Ben 10 for 2 weeks and then never watch it again. So I've seen every episode and every, inception they've had of it.
Well, there were like 5 different alliterations of it.
Yeah.
And he died about a year after the Ben 10 first aired.
Oh, did he? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, then maybe I was wrong.
Maybe
and
it was someone
just
doing a Don
something-
Knotts impersonation.
Probably.
Yeah. That's what it must have been. That was somebody impersonating him then.
But
Well,
that's
it's like the turtle from Moana. Like that guy was totally doing a David Bowie impersonation.
Do you know in Farscape, it took me up until Purple telling me I did not know that Jim Henson died before the show was even aired.
Yeah.
But
Before Dinosaurs was
they used his name in every. I remember watching the Entertainment Tonight, and they're saying, "Hey, Jim Henson Studios, Jim Henson," and they're in Australia interviewing the cast.
Well, his
son took
estate
over.
owned the rights.
But
One of my favorite bits of movie trivia was during the filming of the last Pink Panther movie. Peter Sellers was so sick he wasn't able to speak anymore. So to finish the movie, they actually had Rich Little dubbing Peter Sellers' voice.
I beg to differ. His last film was Being There, where he played a character named Chauncey Gardner. And it's one of the most underrated, unseen movies of all time, and it's probably one of the finest bits of acting I've ever seen in my life.
I have heard of it. I have not seen it.
I
Klinger was not-
recommend everyone to see it. Geez, I wish I could remember. I'm going to say 70s, maybe 80s,
Yep.
but I think 70s.
Yeah,
I
Orla,
just-
we do have to make a correction there. Klinger was not transgender or trans anything. Klinger was just a cross-dresser, and he clearly stated that he was straight, that he only liked women.
You know, I never thought. I've seen every episode of MASH, and I never put the 2 and 2 together like that.
Oh, I found the alien you were talking about. He was actually voiced by Rob Paulson.
and it's also clear that he's only doing it so he can get out of the army.
Which clearly didn't work.
Yep.
Yeah, which Everyone saw through it.
A situational transvestite.
I might not believe him on that last part.
We call that around here. We call that aspirationally bisexual.
Later in the show, he did give up the transvestism.
Oh,
He eventually gives it up, and
Yeah,
He
after
feels-
Radar's out of the show and he takes over as company clerk.
I love that show. I loved that show.
Oh yeah, I do too. Actually, during the pandemic, I found a boxed set of all of MASH. So it's one of the most expensive things that I bought for myself. It was like $75 for, like all 11 seasons or whatever.
I can hear the song the entire time you were talking. I could hear the opening theme.
Suicide is
Suicide is
It-
painless.
It is one of the things that I am planning to go back and rewatch, because I know I've seen all of it several times. I probably have never seen all of it in order.
Did you know that the song "Suicide is Painless" is actually censored in various media situations because it's considered triggering?
Oh yeah, these days
That's
I'm
what we've
sure it
become,
is.
folks.
Yep.
it's an easy song to play on the harmonica, though.
Hell, they put warnings on the live action Aladdin remake.
I've lived in places. Slim, I have a question for you. When you lived in PJ, was PDA illegal or like frowned upon?
What's that?
Oh, public displays of affection.
Ooh, in Tijuana?
Yeah.
Well, I was normally there during the nighttime, so there was a lot of people making out and stuff on the street, but I don't think that it was during the daytime. I think it was very frowned upon, I think.
Yeah.
When I lived in Sinaloa, they were really conservative, and I went to Mexico City, and I was shocked. It was more of an unspoken law, but the cops would break people up if they were making out and stuff.
Yeah, and well, like Jeff's saying here about Klinger, that was the plot in the show,
Yeah.
was that he would be considered insane for cross-dressing, and that would get him discharged from the army.
Section 8.
Mhm.
But also have to consider, the time period it was reflecting.
That's why I always say you have to put what you're watching into context.
Yeah,
You
well,
can't
and
just.
this is another thing that we had the whole thing about trans people in the military, and Obama cleared it, said it was okay. Trump took that back, said no, they can't. It's been reinstated again. But
Day one.
yeah, one of the things that people overlook in that is one of the reasons the military approved that is because they've been having a lot of problem with recruiting, so they want to take everyone they can get.
Oh yeah, they now anyone that has an autistic child should hear this and be scared. They will take anyone on the spectrum as well, because now you can sit at Bethesda, Maryland, and fly a drone anywhere around the world. So as someone who works in the field, they take high functioning people with ASD.
One of my partners actually lives in Atlanta. She her sister is like really happy. She has she basically hurt herself. I was like, I forget what it is, but it's really bad. She has trouble walking even, but her sister's happy because she didn't want her to get drafted back into the military.
Well, the draft has been gone for a long time, but
Or they could have recalled her or whatever, and they were worried about that.
That's a different thing. If we bring the draft back, it's I'm going to dig some papers out and make sure I know where they are.
Gone. I don't remember it going away.
Draft ended in 1975, I believe.
But I'm also
Before a lot of us were born.
I got a draft card and I ripped it up to be cool, and my dad dragged me to the recruiting office. But I found out quite literally the second question they ask you is, do you have asthma? And I was like, I'm born with it. Take an x-ray of my lungs, and I got an exemption immediately. Because I'll cost them more money than I'll ever make them.
Yeah, I have scoliosis and asthma, and they said, nope, we won't take you.
Yeah, exactly.
I tried to join the Navy, and they're like, nope, no, we don't want you.
Yeah.
What scared
I
me,
have flat feet.
what scared me most about being drafted was Vietnam, and what scared me the second most, was knowing that I was trans.
You know, we're a bunch of draft dodgers. So I have to salute the skits. How are you? How's
it going,
Well,
Alice?
you're not a draft dodger if they won't accept you, because
True.
There are a lot of people who would be offended by that because they actually wanted to serve and weren't able to.
Yeah, I was delayed entry for the Navy, and then I ended up having to have knee surgery, and that knee surgery triggered my nerve condition, and so I wasn't able to actually deploy. But I had gone in, I did my swearing in, I did my training, I did training and stuff to lead up to when I would be sent off to boot camp. I was actually in the junior ROTC in my high school, and I was the liaison between our school and the other ROTCs and also the recruiters. So I was ready to go, but it didn't end up working out that way, because 2 days before I was supposed to ship out was when I had to have knee surgery, and then my health just went to shit right after.
I wouldn't be able to, and I wouldn't want to.
Really quick, Orla, I am old and outdated, so I apologize. I do use 1980s terminology. I do.
And epilepsy.
I actually made it into the Navy's nuclear program.
I tried to join the I remember in the car my dad would be like, "You'll love the Navy." He was basically saying like, "You'll be trapped out in the middle of the ocean with a bunch of guys. You'll love it."
You'll love it.
That's the joke. Is if you like men, go into the Navy because you'll be surrounded by them constantly.
Yeah. He's the one that told me I need a new insult. And he's like, "Sea pussy." I said, "What?" He's like, "Sea pussy. I was in the Navy. Trust me, it'll work." It did.
Oh, I can imagine what that means. Oh, that's awful.
No, we're not talking about anyone unwilling. My pops,
You'd be surprised how many were unwilling, either through coercion of it being a superior officer, or just straight up, taking what someone doesn't want to give you.
Yeah, that's been a problem in the RCN.
Sexual assault is a huge issue with the United States Armed Services, and the guys will coalesce and protect each other, and the women end up shafted. It's actually a huge problem.
Oh, it's a problem in our armed forces too. Unfortunately, there's been major scandals involving generals.
I think about the best thing a woman in the armed services can do if she's assaulted is to, and of course depends on each individual's personal inner strength, but get it into the media's hands.
Yeah,
because then they can't put it under the table.
Yeah, part of my job is getting soldiers not only with combat PTSD, but any soldier with an MST, military sexual trauma. It's part of my job to get them into counseling as well.
Thank you for that effort.
Yeah,
yes,
my pleasure.
On behalf of survivors everywhere, thank you. It is really hard to come forward and talk about that kind of thing. Having somebody have your back and help you to get to therapy, that's a big deal. So thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So is that our Pride Duck this month?
The Pride Duck? No, that's
our Pride Duck.
That's just my buddy that rides with me all the time.
It's our Pride Duck. It's now our Pride Duck.
Officially.
He makes noise.
It is just a happy duck. We should not assume anything about its gender or sexual preferences.
We just said it's our Pride Duck. We're not assuming anything.
It can absolutely be an ally and still, celebrating and supporting us on Pride. Just saying.
He usually has a cigarette in his mouth.
So, does every major city have a pride in the Americas now?
I think
Pretty
so.
much, yeah.
I've been to Pride in Portland, San Francisco, of course LA, Long Beach, San Diego,
Well,
and Reno, Nevada.
even southern states where you wouldn't expect it, Atlanta has a gay pride parade.
Okay, they do, and I know. I actually know someone who puts on the Gay Pride Parade. But here is the ugly truth: in Georgia, they have a white pride and a black pride. And someone I grew up with, that literally grew up on the same block as I did, he helps run the white pride in Georgia. And I know that sounds bad, but
White pride doesn't really. We don't really need a pride parade.
No, but
That's an oxymoron.
they segregate their pride. They do. I thought it was the strangest thing, and I heard it on the tubes, and I'm like, that's BS. So I called my friend because I know he runs the Georgia Pride, and he's like, yes.
Yeah, and anybody who would be part of the white pride thing are people who have bought into the whole racial replacement theory.
Well, no, it's no, they're all homosexual, but they segregate. So they have the pride for only white homosexuals, and then they have the pride for everybody else because there's a gang of Hispanics in Georgia. I've been there.
So
That
it's
is
white
so weird.
pride,
Yeah.
Yeah.
pride for being white.
No.
Okay.
Everyone's gay. Everyone's gay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Like
that's
a white supremacist rally or something.
No,
Yeah,
that's
no,
why
it's still
when
gay
I heard
pride.
it-
maybe you want to rethink the way you phrase that next time.
So like I said, I called my friend and I'm like, is this true? And he's like, yeah, totally. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, but you
Gay
didn't say it was
pride
a
for the people who have been bleached.
you didn't say it was a gay pride parade or gay pride event for just
So-
white people. You said it was a white
sorry.
pride parade, and I'm like,
I'm from the West Coast. Saying white pride is less scary, man. Like I'm not scared. Like I don't get scared when I say that.
yeah, but you
Well,
mentioned
I
the
have-
context of
here.
I have
I was
heard
gonna
of
try
white
to-
pride.
I was going to try to organize a gay pride parade here in Houston. Just a little town of 900. But then I found out while I was organizing it, I'd be the only one in it. So
So
Yeah, that's the problem, especially in a small town. It's how many people, could be out in public about it.
yeah.
I was in Bend, Oregon on Martin Luther King Day, like, I don't know, 2013 or 2014. I was shocked of how there were like 2,000 white people that showed up to march for Martin Luther King, So I'm not talking trash. I'm not saying, it's different on the West Coast than it is the East Coast, way different. And
But you are-
Skits and Slim, I think you both can attest, like, both of you have traveled, like, it's different on the West Coast than it is the East, like, big time.
Very much so.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, even in the Midwest, West Coast, Midwest, and East Coast are all like three different ideals of life.
Yeah.
For real.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
I think that the U.S. as a whole, it actually should be split up into about 6 separate countries. And you can do a lot of that just based on the dialect they speak. Because like me trying to understand somebody from the deep south is about the same as somebody in England talking to a drunken Scotsman.
Yeah, the hard Mississippi accent is sometimes unintelligible. You're like, what did you just say, bro? I have no idea.
For me, it was Louisiana was culture shock. Louisiana was absolute culture shock for me.
believe it or not,
South Louisiana really got me. Yeah.
for me, it was a bigger culture shock to move from one area of Pennsylvania to another than it was to move from Pennsylvania to Indiana,
Oh yeah.
just because of the groups that settled there.
That's interesting. But fun fact about Pride here in Orlando, our Pride Parade is actually in October. There's still a bunch of Pride events that happen in June. And there's gay days at Disney, which is another thing. But there's brunches and there's like pub crawls. There's all kinds of stuff scheduled for June. But like the main like actual Pride parade is not until October. Probably because it's hotter than Satan's taint here in June. So nobody can feel fabulous when the humidity is 98% and the temperature is fucking 100 degrees.
Well, plus reasons to be nude.
I was gone from Minnesota for about 12 years, but back around about 2007, I had heard that Minneapolis had the country's second largest gay pride festival, second only to San Diego.
Crazy.
Wow. Milwaukee has a huge gay pride parade and 3-day celebration. They occupy this huge chunk of the lakefront, which is what Milwaukee uses for a lot of different festival things, and just dominate. There's thousands of people that go to it, thousands.
Yeah, well, that's Minneapolis too. That they completely take over all of Loring Park and overflow into the surrounding neighborhood for 3 days.
Does that mean like hundreds of thousands of people show up? Because like in LA, we have people come deep, so big that they've had to like break Pride up between Long Beach and LA. That's
I never caught the actual number, but when I was in the Gay Pride parade in Minneapolis, the lineup before the parade literally stretched out to a couple of miles long. It had literally gotten to the point that the front of the parade was getting into the park and breaking up before the last people had started moving.
I went to Toronto Pride in 2019, and it was basically the same. It was like a few. Over half the population of Toronto in numbers was basically there, and it was kind of crazy. But my hometown, Peterborough, actually we have our Pride in September because we have two major post-secondary schools, Trent University and Sir Sanford Fleming College, and they have it in September because of all the students coming in from out of town.
Well, surprisingly, the town here is going to have its second Gay Pride Festival, and I'll be elsewhere when they're having it. But also, I really don't think they just need to bring drag queens in as their major entertainment. Maybe some, but it's like, bring in speakers.
Yeah.
Okay, well, giving it a quick Google, the Twin Cities Gay Pride Festival draws a crowd of about 400,000 people.
Oh, that's long.
That's a lot of people. That's a lot of
That
people.
is a shit ton.
So, Mark Caesar, are you talking to your cat?
Coming in or coming
Denver has a huge one now. There's like multiple stages downtown in front of the Capitol, and the actual parade is freaking insanely huge. It takes hours for them to get from the front to the end.
That's awesome.
But San Diego was the one that I remember being insanely huge. And there's this one park where they like fenced off the whole area, and there were just like tents of all kinds of like insane demonstrations. Like I saw bears getting beaten with cat o' nine tails inside of a tent in the early 2000s. Yeah, that was pretty kinky until you get hit with somebody's blood in your face after they get whipped.
I'm out.
Pride, I always like, Pride is not for the faint of heart. It is not for the faint of heart ever. And it never was. I went to one in Portland. It was cold and mofos were still out there with their assless chaps. Everybody had their butts out. It was just like LA,
Hey, I just watched your assless chaps episode.
Mark, I was also making a joke because
when I went to Pride, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if you've ever owned an outside cat, you know why.
Yeah, when I went to Pride, I was just wearing my frilly panties and a leather harness, and I had families coming up and taking photos with me.
Okay.
And you have them give you $100 to staple a.
Yeah, and then we did the stapling.
Minneapolis, they have it the last weekend in June, which, Minnesota, you can never tell what the weather's going to be, but there have been a lot of years that people, getting dehydrated and fainting from the heat has been a serious issue.
Oh, when I did Toronto, it was terrible. It was like super hot. I got really badly sunburned.
Well, and I would think that you might not have such a problem with people getting dehydrated if you didn't prevent them from bringing their own water bottles in and charge $4 a piece for water.
Absolutely.
What?
Oh, it happens.
It's
Same
ridiculous.
thing happened here.
Unfortunately, Coca-Cola has an exclusive contract with the city parks. So if you have an event in a city park, you can only sell Coke products. You can't sell anything else. That is fucking bullshit.
It's the same
That
thing
is
here.
ridiculous.
Because Coca-Cola is not a company that has a great history for gay rights. So, that's one of the big reasons why I stopped attending, is it became too fucking commercialized with a lot of companies that I know have fucked people over just for coming out as being gay.
Okay, but
Yeah.
I'll say, to play devil's advocate, sometimes you want corporate sponsorship because, like, MLB pulled the All-Star game from Atlanta because they're extreme.
Corporate sponsorship's a good thing. I'm just saying I don't want corporations that are being so fucking hypocritical.
I agree with you, but they kind of all are, don't you think? Like,
I want corporations to start putting pressure on states that pass these anti-trans laws, like Indiana. Again, and you think after NASCAR told them Pence was too bigoted, they'd know better.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying.
Override a governor's veto on a bill that would prevent transgender people from participating in sports.
Yeah. I am finding the whole business going on between Disney and DeSantis down in Florida kind of entertaining, but again, I know that a lot of the people just trying to make a living will wind up getting screwed over before it's resolved.
I don't know about anywhere else, but
Disney has too much money for that to hurt them.
That's what I'm saying. Where I live,
that's the whole point.
People...
Actually, what DeSantis did is going to hurt the state more than it's going to hurt Disney. Because a lot of things that Disney used to do in that county, like road maintenance, the state now has to pick up the bill for, and it's going to cost the state something like $4 billion.
Which is the taxpayers that live in that area.
Right.
So it's not even DeSantis that's going to hurt. It is going to be the people that live in the area.
Yeah, it's going to jack up the property tax for everyone in that county.
So I don't know about where anyone else lives, but where I live, people that are LGBTQIA plus are the ones that have money.
Yeah, no.
Are the ones like where I live, gay people have say, and literally like.
Not here.
Well, gay men might have money, but not transgender women.
Where
and
I
thank
live,
you for your. Sorry, thank you for your opinion, Mr. Gerardo. Please shove it up the appropriate orifice.
We got a troll.
Oh. Oh, where's my phone?
We got
there.
Oh, I'm not even on the chat. Shit.
Oh god, I was trying to block him through SteamYard. Why is this working?
Yeah, everybody laugh at the bigot and send them underway.
Yeah, actually, it's like I so rarely get trolls in here. It took me a minute to find the right option to pop them out of there. Also, usually I have Robert X is here now. Robert X and Knoxx are usually so good about taking care of those things that half the time I don't even see them before they're gone.
Yeah. That's why we love moderators.
It's just bored people with nothing else better to do.
Oh, and along with Robert X, I see we have Demon Orb has joined us as well.
Hey.
Sorry, I just saw that and.
Yeah,
Listen.
I'm glad you brought my attention to it.
If you're not an expert in sports medicine, don't expect me to be, because I'm sick of arguing this whole thing about trans women in sports.
Yep.
It's like, you don't know, I don't know, and most of you don't know the effects of HRT anyway.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell
Well,
you, I
and-
don't even entertain those people. They're not even like they're not even worth the headspace. I'll tell you the honest truth.
Yeah.
You'll live longer. You'll add 10 years onto your life.
I think that Jeff sums it all up nicely here. Yeah.
I don't I don't even argue that, because they don't care. They won't. I don't know. I used to like try to be like, actually like give them well written like sciencey stuff, and they just ignore it. They won't. They don't.
They're just trolls. They're out there just to screw with people. They don't care about our feelings. They're just out there to mess with people.
I have zero tolerance. I have zero tolerance for trolls.
Your average transphobe is basically no different from a flat earther.
Well, on my channel, I give them one warning. And they're usually like, why is what I said is transphobic? I'm like, I don't have to explain it to you. It's your duty not to be transphobic here.
Google's free, bitch.
Yeah. For real.
Yeah, but I see the same thing. Yeah, I agree with you. I see the same thing about racism too, though.
That's true. Just takes a second to think about what you're saying before you say it.
No, I have X is gonna give it to you stuck in my head. Every time they say Robert X, I hear X is gonna give it to you.
But get it on your own. X gonna deliver to you.
I spent way too much time in TJ. They play the hits. They did,
yes, definitely.
You know, TJ is the only place that I've been to, and they're like legitimately playing Motley Crue at a strip club. I love TJ.
I miss it so much. I always think back to the days when I was doing stuff down there, and I do miss it.
I have a friend who he builds the structures for Burning Man, and he's lived in TJ for like 4 or 5 years, and he recently moved away. And I sent him a DM on Facebook. I'm like, why'd you move away? He's like, man, it's a war zone. Which trips me out, because when I was there 23 years ago, it was a war zone. Like, has anything changed? Is my question.
And for some reason, I was just reminded of something I saw years ago. So, a poster of difficult hits to strip to.
Well, what changed is they've run out of dogs, so they're starting to eat the people.
That's. Do you know, a long time ago, a friend of mine told me in Spanish, the first time I went to Mexico, I was 16 years without my parents. I was 16 years old. We went to TJ, and I asked my friend, I'm like, why aren't you eating anything? And he's like, take a look around. You see any stray dogs around here? And that stuck with me. I didn't eat anything in TJ until I was like 20.
That's like my mom. When my mom visited the Philippines, they gave on her way out, they gave her a bag of dripping eyes, and they told her that they were goat eyes, but she thinks they were dog eyes because they were a poor family.
Oh yeah. They. I try not to. I've been to other countries. I had a roommate who was from Ghana, and the things he would cook I would walk in the house and just want to get violent with him because it smelled so bad.
She also told me when she was there, she was eating chicken soup and there was a claw in her soup.
Ooh. At least you know it's fresh.
I've been to a country that I won't name that has monkey meat on a stick. And you walk and it's literally a hand, because if you think about it, our hands are all tendons, and if you were just to chop it off, it would curl up, So it's literally a curled up hand.
I'm told the monkey hand looks like a baby's hand.
Orla, the reason Disney had a tax exemption was because it was providing services that would normally be provided for Florida, because it would be too expensive for Florida or the county to maintain them, like fire services, police services.
Yeah, it's
Even
not really a
hospital.
tax exemption. They had a special taxation district that, yeah, basically Disney was responsible for providing most of the municipal services, and then I think I muted myself before I finished that sentence.
You did.
Yeah, I was saying that Disney, had an exchange agreement, basically, that they provided most of the municipal services, and in exchange, they didn't have to pay property tax.
I don't know why they so in Orange County, California, in a weird way, because I go down there all the time, you would never know that Disney runs that entire area down there. They basically have their own police force and everything. They treat you just like anyone else. I've seen hockey games, WWF, countless events at the pond.
Disney set that up basically to make sure that no matter what happened with the city, the area around his fantasy land would not start to look shabby.
And
Celebration, Florida.
You brought up another point. Like, they have old school houses in Orange County, but it looks like perfect 1970 houses. Like,
that
all
county
the houses
has
around
the best
Disneyland.
maintained streets of anywhere in Florida.
Yeah.
Except all that's going to change now because DeSantis and the Republican legislature has decided that Disney cannot have the tax breaks they were getting because Disney also paid for all those services for their city.
Well,
and now the citizens will have to pay it on their own.
The first thing that's going to go that everybody's going to notice is garbage collection services.
And do you know
that's
why
when they notice really fast.
Do you know why they did that? Because Disney said, we don't really agree with that don't say gay bill.
Yeah. Yep. And Disney was going along with the don't say gay thing until thousands of their employees walked out in protest. And then they decided we can't afford to lose all those employees, so we'll release a statement saying we don't approve. Not that we'll actually do anything, we'll just release a statement.
Just virtue signaling, basically,
Man,
for appeasement.
If you don't get trash collecting, that brings you back a couple hundred years. Because once you start burning your trash, has anyone been to a place like Mexico City where driving up towards it, you can see a halo of smog and smoke above the city? And I'm sure there's other places like that.
Yeah, where I was in rural Michigan.
Toronto can be like that sometimes.
It was so hard for anybody to dispose of anything like furniture or that virtually every family had a burn pile, somewhere a bit off in the woods there. And it was just waiting until the conditions were at least that you weren't likely to set the whole forest on fire, that they would douse the stuff with accelerants like old motor oil and that and burn it all.
All right, I just have one question for DeSantis. Disney once tried to take over Argentina. Do they think they won't try the same thing to Florida if it's convenient for them?
I'd rather have, I shouldn't say that because Disney is slowly taking over here. They bought the rights to a hockey team that is their rival, and I think that should be illegal.
Yep.
Wait, they own a second hockey team now?
I don't think they own the Ducks anymore.
They own all the television rights for the Kings.
Oh, okay.
And how can you own they own the Angels, they own the Ducks. How can you own the television rights to your rival?
And what Jeff said there about Epcot Center, that Disney wanted to plan this whole thing out as like a city of the future, and basically that all the employees would live there full time, and basically no one would ever go off of his estate.
Actually, you think that's bad, Will? Rogers, one of our cable TV cell phone companies, they own all of the rights to all of the hockey in the entire country.
I don't think that's right.
But
it's kind of good, it's kind of bad. They're being nice about it. they're being
Well,
nice
isn't that
about
about the same as ESPN having all the rights to Major League Baseball?
Probably.
It's changed. Like sports in general have become privatized. I have a problem with that across the board. I shouldn't have to pay to watch the Dodgers. Do you know? It's so sad. I feel privileged because I watch the Dodgers because I have Spectrum. I have neighbors that come to my house just to watch Dodger game.
I don't really care anything about sports, but I do personally think it's kind of fucked up that you have to pay a premium to watch the hometown team.
I don't get it. And they did it to the Lakers
because you have to do that because it's a business. It's not this thing to have fun. It is for entertainment, but Disney's into all those different teams because they care about the business. They don't care about the sport.
Yep.
Yeah. They black out a lot some of the major teams around here unless the actual stadium itself sells out. They won't broadcast it, and
and that's been a rule on sports teams forever. Packers had that back in the 50s and 60s.
Oh yeah.
So basically,
ridiculous.
It's kind of a protection racket, really, that the company is saying that, well, unless enough people give us money, we're not going to let any of you see it.
Well, you also got to think about if those people don't give them money, they're not going to be able to continue to play, especially at today's salary prices.
Well, the salary prices are based on the salary prices are based on, at least in most sports that aren't baseball, they're based on like what the owners are making, and they're a small fraction of that for most teams, or at least most hockey teams that aren't Arizona. So
wait, I thought Disney. First of all, I thought Disney sold the Anaheim Ducks.
Yeah, I think they did.
But
personally,
Disney...
I think all professional sports teams should have to adhere to the Green Bay Packers model and be publicly owned.
They did the big business model where they sold it to a subsidiary. And now,
okay.
And secondly, Disney, I will keep the Disney bundle, but could you please give me an option other than ESPN Plus? I don't watch sports. Give me the Spotify bundle.
ESPN's contracts pretty much pay for the majority of cable.
I was about to say,
I can assure you they have similar deals with the streaming companies that they're involved in with too.
But I don't want ESPN Plus. I wanted Hulu and Disney. ESPN
it's
Plus
the only reason.
I understand that, but ESPN pays the overhead for having all that other stuff. And if you don't have ESPN, you're not going to have the other stuff.
See you later, Orla. I actually came to that
bye, Orla.
Only to watch really obscure hockey and languages I can't speak. So I pay for ESPN because I watch weird sports, So because sports are privatized, honestly, I have not watched one show on Disney Plus.
I mean, Hulu does occasionally apparently broadcast obscure sports from my university.
Now here comes the excuses.
I just don't need ESPN Plus. Give me another option.
I agree with you.
Service, so I don't have to have a password for a service I don't care about.
I agree with you because I don't watch Disney Plus. My son doesn't watch it. I agree with you. I feel like I was forced to buy these other services that I don't use. So in that sense, I agree with you.
There's some good shit on Disney Plus. Okay, like the Mandalorian.
And the Mandalorian,
the Book of Mando,
and the Mandalorian,
all the
Mandalorian.
Yeah, Mandalorian. The Book of Mando. I mean Boba Fett. The
Book of
Kenobi.
Yes, the Kenobi series is great.
All the Marvel stuff, and sometimes it's just fun to watch an old Disney movie or one of the newer ones.
Just hope they don't edit it.
Yeah,
I think you also got to give Disney a bit of a break in terms of the LGBT thing and them just being false and making platitudes and not coming through. They have really opened up their attitudes about making films with people with alternative lifestyles. It's not a huge amount, and it's not as fast as we'd like, but it's a start.
Disney.
Hey, they've been doing good things with Star Wars.
Disney don't need to be edited.
If they move too fast or too much, they're gonna piss off and push away the rest of their audience that is basically again paying the bill.
I know a very British badger who will go rap if they Disney did something good for Star Wars.
Really, really quick, Mark Caesar, I'm crazy. I pay for cable. I pay for Disney Plus, Hulu, all that. I have Netflix. I have Paramount Plus. I have
Apple TV.
My middle name is Entertain Me.
And I pay for the Disney Plus bundle and I pay for Netflix. After Amazon profiteered off the pandemic, I'm like, I'm dropping Amazon Prime. I'm just going to pirate the boys.
Do you know what sold me is that I can watch hockey at like Joann's. So I can be shopping for thread. I can be wandering
fabric.
I can be wandering through Walmart and watch my local hockey game, you know. But again, I think of the little guy, the person who is a casual fan who just wants to watch an effing game, but they can't because it's on a channel they can't afford, you know.
Well,
yeah,
and
I don't
that's
even
the
watch
situation
hockey.
that Lavender Lady is a major baseball fan and basically can't watch the games just because of not being able to afford the premium service for it.
That's crazy. That's crazy to me.
I don't even watch hockey. I listen to it on the radio. I can't get it. I used to, at the very least, be able to get it en français, but I can't even do that anymore because of fucking Bell's partial ownership of the team.
You brought up a really good point, May. I watch a lot of stuff in Spanish too, because I do, I'll listen to it.
Well, I got this guy who's saying he talks to God on Twitter here, and I'm challenging him to answer my 2 questions. He just has to give me the answer to these 2 questions.
What are tonight's winning lottery numbers?
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't need to know what the questions are. He just needs to give me the answers.
There you go.
Okay, that's.
And now he's making excuses for why he's not, why he won't.
Why don't you bring him on the panel?
If God is talking to him through Twitter, then that's
no. He's not talking to him through Twitter. He's
I know.
He's
But I
praying
had
to
to
him, and I'm talking to him through Twitter.
Well, God might an account claiming to be God might interact with you through Twitter. I've interacted with an account called Cthulhu for America.
The tweet of God is awesome.
I've had somebody who just identifies as God on Twitter commenting on some of my posts.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it just says God, and the icon's an illustration of a white guy with a big beard.
Nice. Well, there is a parody satire account named God that goes around.
Yes.
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah, I love them. They're on Facebook too.
Yeah, I like the Facebook God.
I want to thank Jeff because now I'm watching the hockey game, the soccer game between Ukraine and Scotland.
Yeah. Who's winning?
They haven't put the score up yet.
Oh.
This interaction is actually on Prophet of Zod's.
It's 0-0 right now.
I don't get cable. I never have. I don't get any streaming services. I can't afford it. And that's fine. But my brother can afford all that shit. And when I'm over at his house, I get to see racing other than NASCAR, other than NHRA. You know, and some British touring championship, the Australian touring championship, the European touring championship, real racing with right turns, left turns, uphill, downhill.
No, I'm not. I'm not really into this whole sports ball thing where you kick a ball into a hoop to make a home run.
Yeah, I'm not into the sports at all, but it's part of our reciprocal agreements that, since Sloth Girl has a couple of streaming services, she gives me the password and she gets to use my car. Of course, now there's no car, so I hope she doesn't pull her part back. No.
I'm seriously thinking about getting rid of most of these services, to tell you the honest truth.
Well, I have Hulu, Amazon, and then I have, through a friend's account, I have access to Netflix. Anything beyond that, I watch on the high seas.
Yeah, good way of putting that.
Well, right now we've got Disney Plus, and Amazon Prime, and Amazon Prime is mostly for the BritBox.
Usually, when I refer to things
just
that way, I say I acquire it through alternatively legal means. Also, hi, Kitty.
I would like the
He wanted to say
streaming-
hi and show off something to Purple that
Aw.
she will like. So you want to show?
Ooh.
Ooh, a dinosaur.
Nice.
Oh,
It's
yes,
from one
Lego
of his Lego
Triceratops.
sets.
Yep.
Yes. What are you gonna name her? What are you gonna name this dinosaur?
Bob.
I think I'm gonna call this.
Brutus.
Well, what do you think you're gonna call it?
Cleophas. Uncle Rufus.
You got an idea for a name?
Okay,
What's your idea?
I think I'll call her Mine.
You're gonna call her Mine? Well, yeah,
Yeah.
of course she's yours, silly.
Mine.
Mine.
Okay,
Yes.
but if you want her name to be Mine, then her name is Mine.
I was really bummed.
That's
like
a
it.
name.
Yep.
That's a silly name.
It is
What a
silly
handsome young
name.
man.
Well, thank you. They say you're handsome.
Girl
Okay.
gave me the set that had that one for my birthday last year. And I was really bummed I didn't get a chance to get more than one of those. I wanted a whole herd of them, but, you know, they get kind of pricey.
Mhm.
They've re-released it this year with a different paint job, and it comes with a little pickup truck for $40, and it's like, I really want more Triceratops, but that set is not worth $40.
Triceratops with a pickup truck.
Yeah, it's from Jurassic
Yeah,
World.
from Jurassic World.
Oh, okay.
He's just too cute.
I didn't.
Oh my gosh, do not type in dump truck into Twitter. I fell into it. Oh my god. Well, if you like black women, do it. I do. But, oh my god, I fell into I didn't know it existed.
Oh, he's got
Well,
more
dump
dinosaurs
truck.
he wants to show.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
I'm a dinosaur fan.
Okay, come on. If you want to show them.
X is gonna give it to
Yeah,
you.
they
I'll
actually
play that in the background, Goblins.
Lego has done a really nice job on the compromise between, you know, realistic and fitting into the minifig universe.
Well, it's a little one.
Oh, that's awesome.
Pterodactyl.
Is that
Pterosaur.
Quetzalcoatl?
Yeah, it looks like it's Quetzalcoatl.
With posable.
It's
Oh,
actually a
Yep.
flying lizard.
Yeah, I only have the original little pterosaurs that are only about as tall as the minifigs, and they don't have any limbs at all, any joints at all.
Is that from the Civil War?
This is from
Oh.
there was a set he got that it had like this one, and I think it had a truck in it too. I don't
Okay,
remember.
Jenny, now I'm going to have to do that. Now I'm going to have to get a bunch of those cavalry uniforms for the Lego minifigs and make
Oh
up
my god.
Oh yeah, do
redo
it.
the
Do
Civil
it.
War thing with the pterodactyl.
Oh my god, that'd be great.
Confederate troops were not shooting down pterosaurs in the Civil War.
Oh, come on, there's
I
photo
mean, Sarah
evidence.
Palin thinks
Set up-
that Jesus
set up
was
a-
riding one, so
Perf, set up a
Probably
little
during the
diagram
Civil War.
to copy
the same.
the famous photograph of that,
Yep.
and do another photograph and get it out there. It'll be a hit. It'll go viral.
Oh, and if Matt Powell's watching, I'm glad you enjoyed the Fallout poster in my background, but it's not for children. You've never played Fallout if you think that.
so this one's named Jeff.
Jeff.
Okay.
So this is
Okay.
Jeff. Oh,
Jeff.
and the mouth opens and closes too.
Nice.
That's really neat. I like that thing.
Oh, so he
Yeah.
can like hold the fish in his beak.
Yeah, or I can have this little dinosaur like stuck to the top of the Triceratops, and then I can
Yep.
just like scoop down. Just
Have you ever seen?
nom, nom,
Have
nom,
you
nom,
ever seen
Nom,
the
nom,
channel
nom, nom,
Your
nom.
Dinosaurs Are Wrong?
nom,
Didn't
nom,
Oh
nom.
yeah,
channel.
he's funny.
Yeah.
Actually, I've actually been thinking about sending him some of the Lego dinosaurs and see what he makes of them.
But my son gets new Lego sets whenever he has therapy. He gets like about one a week, sometimes two a week, depending on the size of them from my family. Like they spoil him with Lego. Like we have thousands upon thousands upon thousands
Adopt
of Lego.
me. Hey,
you
getting
give
a new
me-
Lego set every month, yeah.
Do you have any Lego books?
Actually, for his birthday, he got a set of Lego books that they have a bunch of build ideas in them. And
Oh,
they come
yeah.
with like a little box to hold the books in. It was
I am
actually really cool.
I am literally holding one right now. At Isaiah's school, he used to, they have the Scholastic book sales. These books were $60 to $80 each.
Jesus.
So that's why I don't get rid of them. I will keep them forever.
What are they about?
Maybe big for a second, and I'll show you this. Because the other day when you made a comment in my video.
Oh, nice.
How cool.
I also have the Star Wars one, but it's propping up the laptop that I'm talking to you on right now. But these books are awesome.
Somebody on the Good Morning America today, they were starting to show stuff about the Queen Elizabeth Jubilee thing that's going on. Somebody built a Buckingham Palace with Lego, and
cool.
I think the Lego people did it because there's all kinds of custom bricks. It looks almost exactly like the damn real building.
That's
And they have a
cool.
little Lego Queen Elizabeth. And
Have you seen the creepy cake, Elizabeth?
no.
Oh, someone made a Queen Elizabeth cake, and then they took the shoulder out while they were taking the picture.
Oh,
That's creepy.
okay.
Okay, Kitty, you need to ask
Yes.
your son if he's spelling Jeff with a J or a G.
Richard, how is Jeff's name going to be spelled? Is it going to be Geoff or Jeff? Jeff. So we're going with like the boring way.
Okay, so it's an American Quetzalcoatlus.
Well, one way you can tell if something is a real Lego or not is the Lego. All Lego will have its logo on it somewhere.
Only mildly related. There is a cafe in the university library here called Cup and Chaucer.
Hey, Sydney.
Hi, Sydney.
To be
Hi,
fair, Mark
Sydney.
Peter, I won't get rid of those books because I overpaid. Like they get you at those PTA book sales, and my Isaiah used to be all cute with his big eyes, and like I'd have to show off in front of all the soccer moms. I'd pay in 20s, and they'd start asking me out after that. No, they were literally like every time that he'd have a book fair, it would cost me like $120.
Wait,
Well,
so-
you know,
Wait, hold on.
Will, in the
Make sure.
trans community, one of the things that a lot of women will celebrate is graduating their life into becoming a soccer mom.
Oh, I'm a bitchy soccer mom.
Well, I did the soccer mom bit, but I was still presenting as male at the time. But literally, I was driving my daughter to soccer games.
All right, I just want to make sure I heard something correctly, because something didn't come through properly about where he was putting those 20s and in soccer moms.
Well, it depends on where the soccer mom was working at the time. No, to tell you the honest truth, I've only been to one strip club in America. I've been to a bunch of strip clubs overseas.
I've been to a couple.
strip club.
There was one in downtown Minneapolis I went to a couple of times because the guy who DJ'd there was a friend of ours, so he was, giving us freebies for it.
Nice.
I always dated somebody who was insecure and controlling. So when I went overseas, I'd go to a strip club. But I dated a Salvadoranian woman, and she loved going to strip clubs.
Well, the one in Minneapolis I went to, I liked because they actually regularly had BBW nights.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's just, honestly, the fashion model, the regular TV sex symbols that everybody goes crazy over, I'm not interested in that skinny. It doesn't turn me on.
We actually have a BBW club in LA and Long Beach, and they've become so popular that it's all over the news. Like it's just part of the city.
When I was with my ex, we belonged to a swingers group that was for BBWs and their admirers.
Do you know the one thing that trips me out about the Jubilee is that they're having it at a really bad time because a lot of people in the UK are starving right now, and they're celebrating the just disgusting opulence of the monarchy that are basically freeloaders.
Well, and the British monarchy most of all, because it's not just their freeloaders on their own country. They got that way from going and sucking the life out of countries all around the world.
Mm-hmm.
I think the next generation of the royals are going to really change that whole perspective. That whole dynamic is going to be different.
They're going to have to if they want to continue, because public support for them has been eroding for decades.
I agree. I mean, like, what was it? Norway and Sweden have a king, but they're just like somebody on the street.
Yeah, they don't have any
power.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Scandinavian countries are usually a lot more realistic about it.
Yeah, there's just a few countries with absolute monarchies now, and they're some pretty scary countries.
Yeah, we don't have Mippet with us anymore. I was going to ask about Sweden.
Well, we had one
weird.
We had one from 16 to 20.
Like, I just find it weird that they're celebrating in the midst of a crisis where people like literally can't heat their homes. Like, it's bad in the UK right now. So, and these are normal people, like middle class. And when I say normal, no one's normal. But my whole point is this would be us. This would be like, we would be like not able to afford to heat our homes. You know what I'm saying? And that's
and even the average American doesn't really get the discrepancy between here and in the UK. That in England, air conditioners for homes are not really that common.
Nope.
They don't need to be.
Mine. They're mandatory here.
I have to pay. I have to pay $150 to put mine in per air conditioner.
That's great. Where I live, you would pass away if you. It gets to be like 110 out here. Like
who said it? They're mandatory?
Me.
And where are you located?
Florida.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
the
to
building
keep
code.
humidity down.
I've
got mine sitting here in my living room on the hand truck. I pulled them both out, but I haven't got them up in their boxes yet.
In fact, it has to be central air. It can't be like those air units in a window.
It was 30. It was like 30 yesterday, 36 with the humidity.
Yeah.
Which is I don't know, I think 80 something in degrees.
Yeah, well, that's all we've got in our department.
30's like in the 90s, like almost 100, I believe.
No. 30?
100 is well into the 40s.
What's 30 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit?
I know
It's like 89.
It was in the 90s.
Yeah, it's in
Oh,
the
86. 86,
Really?
I'm walking around with my shirt off.
I thought it was hotter than that.
I'm a photo cell. Like,
what does Alexa say?
86 degrees.
Okay.
Hey, 86 is the mean average on my home planet.
That's that. Like, I'm a Cardassian, and I'm not talking about Kim. I'm talking about Gul Dukat or Garrick, like on Star Trek style. Like, I need warm weather. In my entire 20s, I traveled around. I lived in cold weather cities. I came back to Southern California, and I when I do move, it's going to be somewhere where it's hot.
96.8 actually.
Okay, Mark, as far as average American knowing where the UK is, unfortunately, with our school system, quite a few Americans cannot identify their own state on a U.S. map.
Or capital.
Yeah.
Listen, I know where our state is. It's right above Ireland. I'm sorry, east of Ireland.
I know where my
East of
state
Ireland.
is. It is desperately clinging on to Canada, hoping to let us in.
I'd be okay with that, Derry.
As opposed to the UK, which is part of Indiana.
Yeah, actually, an interesting statistic is that the England proper is only slightly larger than the state of Minnesota, but with 10 times the population.
It's all
You
about
know-
that population density.
People keep on saying that California is going to fall into the ocean, and I don't think so because there are so many plastic people here. We'll go boop boop. We will float the second we hit the water.
Oh, so you're not one of the people who thinks that California is going to be okay and the rest of the country is going to slide off into the Atlantic.
If you look at the plates, it's the other way around. If the San Andreas really did open up, it would be Mother Nature giving us a big middle finger because there would be nothing we could do.
Everybody thinks that the Pacific Plate is moving east. It's not. It's moving northeast.
Regardless, I just like to point out that you can be a total idiot without being related to your father, who was also a president, and still get elected as president.
That's pretty funny, Mark.
Don, what did Don King used to say? Only in America. Only in America.
As long as you're a reality television star.
Well, and Only in America isn't holding up that well either, because for decades the Tories have been taking notes from the Republicans, so they're trying to implement it all in the UK now.
I mean, I basically call our conservative parties the Republican parties of Canada / whatever province I'm talking about.
I'm fully convinced that I lived through like the golden era of what's left of the human race. Because like, if you want to take it back to Pride Month, when I was 17, I went to my first Pride. I remember my pops dropped me off with all of his biker buddies. I remember walking down Santa Monica Boulevard and being like, oh, what is this? It was like when Pinocchio went to that place where the kids are smoking, that's going to die. Because everybody's becoming so conservative. What Slim was talking about, I've seen stuff like that. People like us being able to live in Mexico, that won't exist 10, 15 years from now. They would never. Slim, would you cross the border right now?
No.
I'm not sure that's true. What we have are very loud conservatives that are enabled by social media, but we're population-wise, we're just going to ignore gerrymandering. There are more people to the left of, well,
whatever.
I'm trying to figure out
I
something.
hope so.
To the left of Ronald Reagan, let's put it that way.
I've watched everything I've fought for the past 20 years.
How Reagan was to the left of the current GOP.
I've watched everything I fight for turn into like this, and it's pretty
I think it says a lot about our political system that both parties currently have negative approval ratings.
Yeah,
they
kick
do.
them both out.
Yeah,
Ronald
basically
Reagan passed the most gun restriction legislation of anybody ever.
Well, yeah, but Ronald Reagan did that to keep black people from owning guns.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's true, but he did it less.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
let's not-
environmentalism used to be a conservative platform because they were like trying to be like not necessarily socially conservative, but they were like, no, if you do this, that, and the other thing, not only will it be good for the environment, but we'll also, you'll save money by not wasting fucking energy.
Yeah.
They were like, it was really brought on by conservatives to begin with.
I think you're. Wait, are you thinking of Theodore Roosevelt?
Thatcher, actually.
Because he would
Richard
not-
Nixon passed the EPA into existence.
Yeah, but you also have to remember the parties kind of switched roles in 1964 after the
Oh
Civil
yeah,
Rights Act.
absolutely. They sure did.
Yeah, so anything before Nixon was a different party.
I mean, I was talking about Thatcher, but so that's why your colors are backwards. Okay, that makes sense.
Another thing I noticed that starting to get the campaign literature now in the mail.
Ha ha! Let me go grab
And,
mine.
well, where it had always been color coded to be blue and red, I'm getting a lot of campaign flyers that are now printed in green, that they're not willing to tell you up front which party they're associated with.
It's a subconscious push to the greendom.
We get.
I would not doubt that in Minnesota, the Green Party has more support than either the Republicans or Democrats.
Nice.
In California now, you can vote in any primary. So now I have a propaganda galore.
Oh my God.
So what I'm going to do is I'm collecting this, and I'm going to build a propaganda palm tree.
I can dig it.
Oh, that sounds cool.
I did it 2 elections ago because I was redoing my grandmother's house, and it was an empty house, and for some reason someone would come and dump flyers because they knew the house was empty, and I was like, I made like 2 or 3 palm trees.
I'll tell you why they did that. Because the people who do those got paid for how many flyers they delivered. So if they could just dump a brick of them at one house and say they did the whole neighborhood, they got paid the same amount without walking around.
Oh, yeah, I did that.
They used to do that with the phone books too. And I remember one year there was big news story about them having found like 150 phone books in the ditch somewhere.
Nice. Hey, Slim, what are you drinking there?
I am drinking a 90 shilling.
Nice. Just very awesome glass at that.
I think it's really wasteful what politicians do. Like, we live in a digital era. You can bombard me with commercials. YouTube forces me to watch their propaganda anyway. So, you can bombard me with commercials. I still watch television. They're not on TV as much.
I really wish that we would adopt the system that in UK. Jeff, if you're still on, you can definitely correct me on all this. I don't know the intervals that they have, but apparently in UK, they start the prime minister or the elections like only 6 months. You're not allowed to campaign until 6 months before the actual date. And then they limit how much you can actually put out there. I'm not sure that's measured in dollars or minutes.
Yeah, part of the UK, part of the English system was that since the government ran the BBC, that they could actually make certain that both candidates had an equal amount of radio and TV time.
Well, we used to have something.
More than both.
We didn't have it for candidates, but for viewpoints, we used to have something called the Fairness Doctor.
And that went down with Ronald Reagan, too.
Yeah, we used to have that back in a time when there was something like integrity in journalism, and they were supposed to actually, tell you when they were reporting news and when it was an opinion piece.
Pretend to tell you that, yes, yeah.
Yeah, pretend, yeah.
Well, I grew up with like Dan Rather and Brokaw,
yeah.
Yeah.
So I have not seen anything I would say was a remotely biased news program since Jim Lehrer died.
I missed Huntley and Brinkley.
I used to watch the McNeil Lehrer Report.
I
thought it was very telling that for decades they were the only ones both parties would trust to moderate a debate.
There's your sign.
I don't know. I personally thought it was funny that during the Trump-Biden debate, or at least one of them, Chris Wallace was fact-checking Donald Trump on the spot.
To be fair, Donald Trump is a bold-faced liar.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to.
He's a politician.
It's not the job.
But he cried wolf so many times, we know he's bullshit. Like,
there's a difference between how Donald Trump lies, politicians lie. Politicians manipulate words and factoids to suit their position for a given audience that they're in. Donald Trump makes things up out of whole cloth.
Yes.
Just
complete fantasies.
Yeah, and Chris Wallace was there fact-checking him on the spot.
God bless Chris Wallace.
Really quick, Jeff, if you're still listening, I'm going to get a tattoo like Dykes. I'm going to get huge angel wings on my neck. It's decided.
It's decided. It's official.
Speaking of that devil, I got a Nazi scum tattooed on my leg on a coffin.
Awesome.
Oh, that's badass.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
There's a pickup truck that just went by here that has been following me around town, wondering what the hell I'm doing here.
Back off, Karen.
He's got a second person in the truck now.
Oh God.
To be fair, if you were to do that in my neighborhood, someone would walk out and kindly ask you what you're doing.
But does this person actually literally following you around like town?
Yeah.
That's creepy AF.
Town's only from the very edges to the very edge of town. It's 1 mile. For the actual place where people are, it's only about a half mile.
Oh,
You
God,
just
like,
might
Did
get
anyone
shot.
hear about Biden meeting with the Prime Minister of
No,
Australia?
I don't recall hearing any of that.
No. You would have thought something that would have at least popped up on Twitter at some point.
Biden has a lot of meetings and does shit that never hit the media.
yeah.
That's why he's got such a horrible rating, is everybody thinks he's doing nothing.
Yeah, it's because
If you put out what he's done, it's like 2 or 3 pages of single space, both sides typewritten information. It's
I
really-
wrote down just within the first 24 hours what he did for a live stream, and I had 4 pages.
Nice.
Yeah, unfortunately, the media does like to cover the whack jobs, and the Republicans have just some whack jobs that they know are always going to get outrage views.
Well, and they report just
Yeah.
President Biden's got a approval rating less than Donald Trump,
Yep.
36%. Yeah, but why don't you tell them why? Because you guys are not covering what's really happening.
Yeah.
And the right wingers are able to make up bullshit and people believe it.
Well, and a politician actually just doing his job and not doing a lot of PR stuff just
Exactly.
isn't entertaining.
Just because Trump tweeted every single little thing that he did doesn't mean that Biden's doing any less. He's just actually doing his damn job rather than tweeting about it.
And he hasn't been golfing once.
Well,
Really?
I think a lot of it has more to do with like the gas prices, and that's
Which is not Biden's fault.
Yeah.
Gas
well,
prices
Biden
are
has
stuff
done
of
some
Russia.
things that have slightly raised them higher. He can
Yeah,
do
but-
some things to lower them.
The Democrats passed a bill trying to basically waive the federal gas tax, and the Republicans are like, nope.
But I'm saying
Yeah.
he could just make policy changes to things he's done.
The
that would
Democrats
slightly increase production,
Yeah, but
which is
like
about the only
Jimmy
thing
was
he can
saying,
do.
produce
That-
legislation to stop price gouging on gas and all the retail items that are up over our heads now.
Well, technically,
And the Republicans voted it down.
technically doesn't that already exist? Isn't it already illegal to basically hoard and profiteer in crisis situations?
yeah.
We just need to start applying this to CEOs.
Yep.
well, and that's the problem, that with big corporations, even if they actually are held to something, the corporation pays a fine, which is a small percentage of what they profited, and they
no.
just go on again. No one's actually held accountable for anything.
I'm not saying the corporation. You make an executive responsible for.
Oh yeah,
these-
I agree with you. I agree that the top management should be held personally responsible for the decisions they make.
And I think the fine should go up exponentially, and it should be out of total company profit, like a percentage. Like your first time, it's 1%, then it goes up to 10%,
Yeah.
and then just keep going until like you just fucking take all their money,
Yeah,
Okay,
and
you
that's
prob-
the problem.
or
that-
they learn.
Okay, you
So,
profited this much by doing this illegal thing. Okay, we're going to take all that money plus some percentage along with it.
Yep.
that actually does happen, Kitty. That actually does happen. But what happens is that they use that same mindset against a small business that they would use against Exxon. So they're like, we're going to fine you $20,000. A small business can't handle that. But Exxon's like, you can fine me $20,000
But
every day.
if you're doing it as a percentage of the entire money they take in, then that small business, if it's 1% of their sales, then it's going to be a much smaller dollar amount than your Exxon. 1%
A lot
of
of small
Exxon.
businesses only make 5% on their total sales.
I wish it was like that.
Yeah, that's the problem, that so many of the fines, especially with the EPA, are set numbers, and they are numbers that were set back in the 80s. So the amounts that they are, while they seemed like a significant amount then, are meaningless to corporations today.
Just like I would say, most of our fine system. If I go out there and jaywalk and get a $100 fine, that hurts.
Yep.
But if somebody who makes $200 million a year does the same thing, like I don't care, and they can that goes with any crime that involves a fine. If it doesn't hurt them, why do they give a shit?
Yeah, that's why millionaires can get away with a car accident where they were drunk and somebody got killed.
Yeah.
And they just pay it off. And
Looking at
yeah,
you,
your
Caitlyn
average
Jenner.
working class Joe,
Terrible human.
if you just have a car accident and you knock down a light pole, you'll never be able to pay it off.
Recently, when my car got towed, the whole interaction cost me almost $6,000.
Ouch.
I just have a question, though. Can we please go back to having Laverne Cox and Janet Mock as our spokesperson and get rid of Caitlyn Jenner?
True.
Why did you vote her in?
Every time Caitlyn Jenner appears on your tube, you should be contacting those media stations, the locals, the nationals, and just scream up and down how much she is not a representative of us.
You guys would hate Southern California news, because any time there is an issue with anyone that's transgender, they call her.
Yeah, she's anti. She's not an ally.
No, she's not at all. And she's on. See, the thing I don't understand about her is that she's on our liberal stations. She's on our conservative stations. Like I don't get it.
Sorry.
They have to be paying her, because honestly, like I'm a capitalist, so I'm a whore to a certain extent, Yeah. But like, they have.
I have an idea, real quick. What we should be doing is taxing the escorts. There we go. That's how you're going to get the rich people. Tax the escorts.
Oh, okay. Then you punish. I'm pro escort though, but then you punish the underground.
So am I. But they have enough money that if they had to spend an extra $100 to get that escort, they would do it. We can make $1 billion off escorts if we just tax them.
I like it.
I'd rather find a way to not penalize some of the people who are at the bottom of the economic scale.
That's true. That's true.
Any legislation that targets sex work is never a good thing.
I know, I'm in the sex industry, so I get it, but I just thought that was funny to bring up, because they use the industry so much.
How's it going, Mikey?
Yeah. Hey, Mikey.
Hey.
Well, what we could do is require them to register as a user of escort services.
I was about to say maybe they have to have a license now, and that license is.
I'm all for.
So let me tell you how it goes in Nevada. In the state of Nevada, you have to get a hoeing license. So if you get stopped by the cops, you're like, hey, I've paid my taxes and everything, and you can do whatever you want, and quite honestly, it really stops a lot of underage prostitution and a lot of crime, because in Nevada, if you bring a minor across state lines, you get life in prison.
Yeah.
Well, and Gates didn't hear anything about that.
The other thing is, if we had more testing and more safety things in place, then we would have it to where it was like not as sketchy to go through those processes to have somebody.
Yes, I did in fact see that the Johnny Depp Amber Heard verdict is out. However, I'm just glad that the case is going to be over, so I can stop hearing about it.
Okay, Katie was trying to say something on the sex workers thing.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I was basically saying that, look, sex work is work, first off. Second off, what we should be doing is we should be protecting them by, instead of, having them be on the streets, I think we should have legalized brothels where you have, they have healthcare, they have contraception, regular checkups. Treat it like the porn industry where you need to get tested. And anybody who wants to go there, any of the patrons will need to get tested and provide that documentation, and you can have a quiet database where it's like you could even have each person assigned a number. So you might not know their actual name, but in the system, it has a registry of their test results to show that they're up to date. And then they are John number 4692. They go in, they do their thing. Everybody's happy.
Yeah,
I-
well,
I-
I am all in support that, they should be licensed so that they, have regular health checkups and that. I don't see any problem with licensing them the same way that you license a therapist.
Hey, I went to Amsterdam and didn't get herpes. Amsterdam has a really good way,
They have it's great program over there for sure, how they run it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I've never actually thought of. Kitty brought up as far as all this is. So much of the attention gets drawn on the actual workers themselves. They need to be tested. They need to be regulated. They need to be all that. But I've never thought about the fact that the customers, they could be the dirty ones. They could be the nasty
What do
ones.
you think these guys and girls are getting it from? The fucking easy ass people coming to see them.
Yeah,
I've never thought about it before. That makes sense.
Yep.
I mean, if you think
better
they're gonna-
regulations, and we got to make a bunch of money off of it. If we could make money off of regulating it, how does that not help the government? And it makes it safe for everybody else, right?
Just to be fair, I don't know if you guys forgot about this whole COVID-19 thing, but we couldn't even get these fuck sticks to wear a fucking mask. You think they're gonna get their fucking wee tested?
Yeah, exactly.
No, they're not testing their wee-wee.
Then they don't get to get their wee-wees wet.
Then they're gonna have
I'm sorry. If you shut down the punani to them, sorry.
Okay, that's good in principle, but I'm a
Someone's selling that tail.
I'm a compulsive gambler, and I haven't gone to a casino because I keep on hearing stories in Vegas they don't give an F.
Yeah,
they don't care.
But the vast majority of problems, the vast majority of problems that they talk about prostitutes causing, are not the prostitutes; it's the abusive pimps.
And
so
also,
if we can have them to a point that they could actually go to the police and report if the brothel owner is abusing them, we would get rid of most of those problems.
I forgot. Sex workers union. It would have to be unionized.
Oh, I like that.
It's not
And
just
that's what we need. We need that.
I like
it's
that.
also the environment too, though, because what happens is they end up being on the crappy side of town where people are on drugs, people are selling drugs. That's a whole other subject than prostitution.
Yeah.
But they go hand in hand because they're on the same street. You know?
Well, and the drugs are often what the pimps are using to keep people under control as well.
That's very true. Yes, crack epidemic was a major thing in the sex work industry in the 80s and early 90s for sure.
Oh, it still is. I live in LA, man. We still have crackheads are thriving. They actually have a union now.
Are they meth heads or are they meth heads or are they crackheads?
So I'll tell you, it's a weird code. People of color where I live do not necessarily do meth. So you do see people on meth, but it's rarely people of color. I live in the burbs. I've said this a million times. We have a gang of white kids on meth that roam around neighborhoods robbing people. And I wish they would come by my house.
Tweakers.
I will make the news. I wish they would.
That's what we did as teenagers. We were just getting high on meth, and then we would just go break into the rich houses when we knew people were gone and steal their shit. And then
it's so
Jeff, why don't you come in here and describe those differences or that the problems that make it not a long shot deal.
Basically, if you're poor and white and addicted to drugs, it's probably meth because that's just what you get in small areas.
Or fentanyl.
It's pretty cheap. It's pretty cheap in those areas for that,
It's an epidemic here. It's really sad. I talk shit and I laugh, but someone I used to respect that I don't respect anymore, he runs $1 million plumbing business. He used to be a contractor. He was my dad's friend. Long story short, I was going to Starbucks one day at 4:30 in the morning because I'm a yuppie. And I saw his son, who's my age, out in front of Starbucks just screaming on meth. And instead of being like, oh, ha with the Nelson laugh, I felt sorry for brother. I know, if he cleaned up, he could literally have $1 million business. You need a plumber. No matter where you live, you need a plumber, and that's a skill not too many people have anymore.
I just shit in a bucket.
It's the fucking 1600 where you live, huh? Thrown out the window.
Yeah. Well, see, and the other problem was
this underlings.
The other problem was, as a teenager, I was able to get Adderall in the other uppers. There were White Crosses out of Oklahoma that you could hit up somebody who lived in Oklahoma, and they would send you a bottle of pills through the mail. So that was the easy drug for the white boys. You know what I'm saying? And then the next step is just meth. You know.
Do you know in my day?
Well, that's the problem. Is that drugs I need? I know people in other states who could get them without a problem. It's just sending them through the mail is a federal offense.
Yeah. We used to put them in teddy bears. I had a friend who would rip open a teddy bear and then put the bottle inside, and they would sew it up. And...
Cut the mic. Cut the mic. Don't tell me. Give it up, kid.
You know,
sorry for that technical difficulty.
Okay, and now you know why I had a business making stuffed dinosaurs.
All right.
No, I'm getting off this call. Y'all not gonna
what the hell did I walk in?
Y'all not gonna Rico me. I'm not part of this.
So growing up in the burbs, back in the day, instead of meth, people used to do acid and mushrooms. Those were like the DOC for the suburb kids, you know. So it's weird for me to see rich kids wandering around on meth.
All right,
it's weird. It's weird.
As someone with sinus problems, I would like to thank all the people who make meth in their basement or whatever for making it so hard to get Sudafed.
Does anybody
thank you for that?
Yeah, right.
Same here.
Well, one of the things is they passed this law about only getting 2 boxes a month. They didn't account for the fact that you have families that, since no one under 18 can buy it, how was I supposed to get enough for both myself and my 15-year-old daughter, who both had chronic sinus problems?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
No, they're the same way here.
Pay 3 times the price as for a doctor's prescription.
At least they've made the steroid treatments over the counter now.
Oh, that reminds me. Who is stealing face wash? Let's have a moment out. The other day I went to Walmart and the face wash was behind glass for the first time ever. And I said out loud, who the F is stealing face wash? You need $2.50.
Well,
I'll give it to you.
I think that might have been that during the pandemic, people were stealing every kind of liquid soap.
I couldn't believe it. I just want my Neutrogena.
Why would they do that?
I don't know.
It's probably just
a bunch of toilet paper.
Hey, man, I need some face wash. I'll suck your dick for some face wash. You know?
I got these blackheads. I really need some Clearasil. I heard you're the guy.
Hey, during the height of the pandemic, I wound up sending out bottles of liquid soap and hand sanitizer to friends in several states.
Ain't it crazy how we never ran out before? You little dirty, nasty motherfuckers. Y'all we never ran out until everybody went to buy soap at once. And now we ain't got enough. That means everybody wouldn't buy soap.
My friend in Oregon was actually willing to pay the $20 for the flat rate box for me to ship her toilet paper.
Jesus.
You know, that's something I literally think in my head when I judge people. I look at someone and I'm like, I bet they don't wash their hands.
You don't wash their hands.
I bet they don't wash their hands.
Ain't no way COVID gets the way it is if everybody's washing their hands after every. No, y'all ain't washed shit. That's why we ran out of soap. Y'all finally tried to wash your fucking hands and we ran out of soap. You dirty, nasty motherfuckers.
Every time I'm in a public restroom and there's that sign that said workers are required to wash hands before returning, you know, I always want to just put under that, we'd appreciate if all the customers did as well.
So we got a potentially lethal virus. It's a spread through airborne in particular. And so we all clomb together to buy toilet paper.
Wait, you don't have a sign? You don't have signs in your bathroom that say employees must stop crying before returning to work?
Let me see if I find. Last year, I took a picture.
That's what I wondered about with the whole toilet paper crisis. It's like, you know, unless diarrhea was one of the symptoms of the plague, why was it the toilet paper that went?
I think
it's because Fox News said that it was going to be a problem, and then every Republican went out there and bought it all up.
It started in another country. Apparently, it had something to do with someone thought they could make masks out of it or something.
Well,
Australia was the first place.
It just kind of spread from there.
The problem with the toilet paper was actually a supply side issue. That, toilet paper is something that they have a very predictable sale for. They know they're going to sell the same amount every month.
I know your booty's dirty. I know it.
Yeah, so basically, because that's been the case for decades and decades, the factories are set up to produce that amount. They don't produce any extra. They don't warehouse any extra.
Can't spare a square, man.
So if the demand suddenly goes up, they have no way to, feed the higher demand.
I guess
politics.
I guess Supernatural was prophetic there, seeing as they were saying to hoard that stuff like gold.
Well, and I didn't think it was any big deal. And actually that, the first lockdown started literally 2 weeks after we moved. And I had decided that, okay, it's a small apartment. I don't have a lot of storage space. So I'm not going to buy the big packs of toilet paper anymore. I'll just buy the 4 rolls at a time. That gets me through a couple of weeks. Yeah, was that a bad time to make that decision?
I got lucky. I managed to buy a big one on sale just before the whole thing hit.
Yeah, well, we wound up with the supply getting very scarce for a while, and I managed to find some just in time.
Yeah,
Herb, I just sent you a picture from a year ago, but I still see people like this at the grocery store.
Yeah, we were real crazy over here in California, especially Northern California. Right before the pandemic, we had real bad wildfires. So I was out there and I, scooped up a bunch of the masks, for wildfire, for breathing all the smoke. And then the pandemic hit and I had this stack of masks. I was like, all right, I'm good.
I got this really good reusable mask. It's actually made of silicone. All I had to do is add this metal strip to the top nose part so it would seal up right. But I can actually change out the filter on it with whatever filter I want.
The nice thing about living in a red state is there weren't any mask shortages.
Oh, right. That's funny and sad.
Yeah. Of course.
Well, Sloth Girl actually made over 400 cloth masks that we sent out to friends all over the country. The huge bulk of them went to my sister because she works in a long-term care home, and they were not able to get enough masks. So we made sure that she got enough masks for all the residents there.
Praise Sloth Girl.
Nice.
There you go. I sent you a close-up of it too. So this is my local Smart and Final. People are still losing their damn mind like that.
Oh my god.
I just went off on a lady yesterday at Walgreens because, of course, the lady in front of me had to go back for one more fucking thing. All I needed was a fucking pack of fucking 9 volts for my fucking smoke detector. That was annoying. So I'm fucking standing in line waiting for this bitch is over here fucking going through makeups and shit. I'm like, yo. Push her shit to the side, yo. Like, I'm trying to get out of here. And those lady, 4 or 5 people stack up in line, right? And then here comes the lady at the end. All this over a hoax. All this stuff, the hospital. I'm like, yo, you can chill with that. Ain't nobody trying to hear that. We're all just waiting in line, man. You can save that.
Mikey, I want you to know that because I am retired, what I specifically do is that if there's somebody behind me who's got a bunch of stuff, and I've got 1 thing or 2 things or 3 things, I step aside and let them go. And they say, "Oh, no." I said, "No, you're on the clock. I'm not. Go ahead. Take your time."
I love this one by Demon Orb here.
I'm the same way. I'm a soccer dad. When I go to the grocery store, I got a giant cart. I tell everybody nah, man, I'm gonna be here for a while. I talk to the cashier because that's our weekly interaction.
Right.
I'm gonna be there for a while.
Yeah. When I first heard about the toilet paper shortages, I was like, okay, some people are being weird. I didn't think it was ever going to be a big deal here, but
nah.
Yeah, it literally went for weeks that I did not see a single package in the stores.
I think these people who loaded their entire pickup truck with toilet paper are people we should have put marks on their door, big X on their door for the front door of their house, and nobody go and deal with them ever again.
Well, I saw people
anti-society.
I saw pictures of like people leaving Walmart with literally pallet loads of toilet paper.
Yeah, yeah.
What they do is they take it and sell it.
They started putting.
Well, that's
right on
bigger
Facebook.
reason, because then they're scalping.
Yeah,
It goes right on Facebook.
That woman I took the picture of, I asked her flat out, I'm sorry, but like, I'm black. I'm not scared of you. I asked her, I was like, what are you going to do with that? And she flat out told me, like, I'm going to sell it.
Hi, Random Hand.
Random Hand should be doing his schoolwork.
there's that I'm sure it's it might be a little
literally
fake, but,
2 more
the
days,
story
bro.
of
literally.
If I had the money, I would have gone to a store, bought up all the baby formula, and then stand outside the store and hand it out for free.
What can I say as someone who's had I didn't have a child, who participated in raising a child. I didn't birth him. My ex-wife did. But formula is crazy expensive anyways.
Yep.
It's a racket. I don't know how they get away with it. And diapers too. Come on, like.
Well, it's only 2 or 3 companies making this stuff.
You can't make your own formula. That's the major reason.
Yeah, they get away with it because it's something that they know people will buy at any price. No one is going to decide that it's too expensive for my baby.
Yeah.
Because the lack of international regulation has allowed 2 or 3 companies to control a lot of things in the world, and we just need to start. There needs to be some international authority breaking up these companies when they get too big.
All I'm saying is it was a ripoff.
There's only 2 or 3 people running the entire world because they've got all the money.
It was a racket before the shortage. I hope this drawing attention to it shows that people before couldn't even afford to pay for this. You know what I'm saying? So I hope that something comes from this.
A lack of regulation and allowed 2 or 3 companies to run everything. You mean the free market didn't fix everything?
No, it's amazing, isn't it?
Adam Smith was
fucking wrong.
I was on WIC and food stamps when my son was born. And the formula that he needed, there was only one that he could take. And I spent hours, days contacting, the state because they're like, we will not pay for that formula. And I said, look, if I give my son the formula you do cover with WIC, he starts projectile vomiting and shitting, and he's getting dehydrated. This other one, he has no issues. Still nothing. So basically, WIC was useless for me other than milk, eggs, and peanut butter, and I used the food stamps to pay for the formula. Even with the doctor's note saying, no, he needs this other formula, they're like, nope, sorry, we don't do substitutions anymore.
It's crazy.
It's like
I have a similar.
State of Wisconsin will not allow people to buy dried beans, but you can buy them in a can.
I would like to point out, however, that Adam Smith would actually not approve of the current system. Coming back to an earlier point, because he actually does not say to let companies grow too big. He says government should stop that, and he also says that if you have unregulated capitalism, what you have are companies that get bigger and bigger, and it's anti-competitive.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, my coverage, I have to take injectable estrogen because my liver converts estrogen to estrone very aggressively. I can't take pills, and my healthcare won't fucking cover injections, so that's like more than I can afford out of my pocket, or no hormones at all. So,
well, I've been fighting the last 2 weeks to get my estrogen refilled because there is starting to be a shortage of it. So the doctor wrote me a prescription for what's basically the same thing in a more diluted formula. So I have to inject twice as much of it. But the insurance didn't want to cover that, so I kept having to argue between the pharmacy and the insurance about, okay, so you'll cover what I can't get, but you won't cover the only thing the pharmacy is able to fill.
Yep.
And
like the top endocrinologist in like the entire country has been begging them to cover it, or has been begging the province to cover it for years, apparently.
the doctors they send me to with Medicaid, Medicare are shit. I mean, when I went to get the diagnosis for my arthritis, first I walked in there. I was going because I knew I had arthritis. I needed to get it diagnosed to find out what type. First, I walk in there. I'm waiting in the back room. This doctor comes in, starts asking me questions. Then another doctor comes in. Then the second doctor that came in was actually the doctor I was supposed to be seeing. So the first doctor, I don't know, they started diagnosing and doing stuff. So since the other guy was already there, he said, "Okay, we'll just handle this. We'll come back this time." So I tell this doctor, I need what I need to have done. So he signs up for blood work. I go, they have some blood drawn. A week later, I come back to get the results. Well, he never did the test for the arthritis. He did a bunch of other tests for diabetes and stuff. And I'm talking to the actual doctor I was supposed to see the first time. He was running over the test results. Like, well, what about the arthritis? Like, no, it's not here. So they had to do another test again. And I had to come back another week.
So what type of arthritis did you find out you have? Just osteo or rheumatoid?
Rheumatoid arthritis.
That makes my
Condolences.
They are big time actors in soccer. Like if you did that in hockey, they would point and laugh at you. They flop like bloody divas.
What just happened right now?
I'm watching Ukraine and Scotland, and they're flopping.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm watching it too.
Will, that was the most LA reference you've ever made. Vlade Divac. No one cared about Vlade Divac except for LA people. Not even the Kings like him.
He was on the Kings,
why?
damn
And I'll
it.
tell you why. Vlade's
Sacramento
a legend.
Kings.
Yeah, Vlade's a legend because Vlade would play a game and then walk outside and smoke 3 packs of cigarettes.
Yeah, they were.
To be fair, to be fair to soccer, okay, I'll be fair. You're not actually allowed to really make any contact in soccer, so it takes less to exploit, that rule than you actually have to basically kill somebody in hockey.
It's an infectious disease, though. It's spreading to the NBA. I mean, the NBA has always tried to fake, but it's just getting so blatant these days.
No, it's better. It's a lot better than it used to be. It used to be way worse. About 5 years ago, about 5 years ago, it was kind of unwatchable. It was James Harden was getting fucking 45 points a night. He was shooting 20. He averaged 18 free throws a game. It was broken.
Oh, I hurt, mommy. I hurt.
No, that's it. I'm old school. The rule is if it's hanging off, you can go to the hospital. If not, walk it off. Is it broken? Is it broken?
Is it broken? They can put it in a splint. Get back on the ice. That's like 40s and 50s hockey there, and 60s. Is it broken? Freeze it. Go put it back on the ice.
It was talking about playing outside when I was a kid.
Oh, well, yeah.
It's like, if you got so beat up you couldn't walk home, somebody got their wagon and they pulled you home. But, it's like the older kids were trying to do some kind of improv first aid so they didn't have to let the parents know what happened.
Oh, yeah. I had brothers and sisters that if you roughhouse too hard, everybody got whooped. So you'd be like, oh, no, you're fine. You're fine. You're okay.
Getting hit in the head with the cardboard part of an inflatable crayon from an amusement park can draw a lot more blood than you think it would. Yes, there's a story behind that. But...
I still have hockey scars from when I was 7 or 8 years old. I got checked in my lip with a hockey stick. I still have that scar to this very day.
And yes, I have siblings. Why would you ask that? I don't even know what that fight was about.
Oh, Mikey disappeared into the void.
Whoa. Mikey comes and goes a lot.
All right, checking to see if anyone.
I got this one scar on the palm of my left hand. I call it my Jesus scar. When we were 7 years old, we were playing in the backyard, and back in the days when clotheslines were all outside, and because there were no dryers, and there would be like an independent post sitting there with the hooks on it, where your mom would hang the clothesline. We had this contest of try to jump up and touch the top of the pole, and we all did it, and I did it, and I got hooked on the hook.
Oh no!
Oh
yeah,
God, that sounds ghastly.
and I just hung there. I couldn't do anything except scream. And Mom came out and saved me, but I still got that scar.
Oh God.
Oof. So when I was a kid, when we lived up in Massachusetts, we had a 2-story house, and one summer there was an issue with flies. They kept coming in from the outside, just like house flies. So my mom put like that sticky fly paper up, and like I love that stuff. Like it's great because fuck any bugs that come into my domain. Like I won't go out there and fuck with them, but once they come in here, like nope. I will genocide those bugs. But anyways, so there was the sticky fly paper, and my sister and I were sliding down the banister, and she kept wanting to show me up. So she would go a little bit higher than me. So I'm like, bet. So I go to where the fly paper is right in front of my nose and slide down. She decided to go a little bit higher than I did and got it stuck in her hair. And then my mom had to spend 4 fucking hours scrubbing her hair to try to get it out.
Ooh.
My sister was always awful, so a little bit of Schadenfreude on that one.
I'm pretty sure a lot of us were.
People, we're having a good conversation here, and I hate to break it up, but yeah, we've been going 3 hours, and I have some things I need to do before all the doctor's offices close today.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Well, I'm still arguing about one of my prescriptions, which probably means I need to talk to the pharmacy, who's going to blame the clinic, and talk to the doctor, who I've talked to 3 times this week, who keeps saying that they faxed the pharmacy.
Mm-hmm.
And then find out they were
I
faxing
have
the wrong
that
doctor.
battle like every fucking month, it seems.
Yeah. So anyway, need to wrap it up here and go around. Anybody final thoughts? Anything you want to plug?
Got
you got anything?
Just thank you so much for having me here. It's always a pleasure and an honor to be with all of you, and thank you all for being who you are.
Okay, Kitty, you got any last words?
Happy Pride, bitches.
Yeah.
And get ready for all of the companies that will fund the politicians that want to strip our rights from us to come out with all kinds of pride-themed goodies for our consumption. Because they tend to put on their pride hat like once a year and then try to fuck us over the rest of the year. And other than that, you can find me mostly on TikTok, Kitty the Atheist on there. I'm also on Twitter, Kitty the Atheist, and Skits, as to what you were saying, just shoot me some DMs if you got any questions while you're going through your sewing journey. I'd be more than happy to help out with that. Other than that, thank you for having me, and I am going to get back to making this credit card pocket for the new bag that I'm making. So
cool.
Take care, everyone.
May, you got anything?
I got nothing going on right now, so be gay, do crimes.
Slim?
I love that saying. Fucking love that saying.
Slim, when are you going to be doing your shows?
So in 2 hours, we're going to be doing on the Sanctum Sanctorum channel, we're going to be doing a gun rights thing. We're going to be talking about all the shootings and maybe how to fix it. Of course, we're a bunch of dumbasses, so we'll probably not figure it out, but we're going to be talking about that. So if you're not subscribed to me, please do. And in my community channel or my community post, I will put the link for that stream in like an hour. So that happens in 2 hours. So please follow me, and we'll be talking about gun stuff in the Americas.
Okay. Mikey, you got back just in time. Any last words? Anything you want to plug before we shut this down?
I made it easy for everybody. Solo.to/Mikey Famine. That's all of my links, all of my YouTube channels, all of my Twitch, all of my everything. solo.to/Mikey Famine. And then tonight, Dig Out America, we have attorney Anna, a new member of the show. She'll be on I think we're talking about Supreme Court and how we're all so fucked.
Yep. Okay, Porpoise, what have you got going on?
Well, I was actually working on my statistics homework and an essay about the ethical egoism of Ayn Rand and why it doesn't work for a philosophy class. I'm actually, since I have the summer off unless I can find another job, going to be working on a video today if I can get the work I need to do done. And it'll be about Elon Musk and Twitter, which I know I'm behind, but I don't think everything I plan to do was bad, just most of it was.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, everyone, be gay, do crimes, but while doing that, be excellent to each other. And so long, and thanks for all the fish.
Okay. Jenny, anything from you in the happy
Thanks
document?
for all the fish. Well, I'm a little confused. Grandma, Godless Granny, asked me to be on her show to talk about deconversion laws and behavior and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure she said tonight, which would be like 7 o'clock Central Time, but I'm not positive. So stay tuned, find out. And then after that, there'll be B's Wednesday night show at 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. And please tell this hornet to go away.
No.
Okay, Jenny, I think it must be next week for you to be on Granny's.
Is it?
Because
Okay.
the thumbnail she has up tonight is they're going to be talking about Putin.
Okay, great. Thanks. That's helpful. So next week, folks.
TikTok, Putin, TikTok. Whatever is inside you is growing.
Yep. Mage, you have any last words?
I'm not sure if Lavender Lady's going to be streaming today or not. She accidentally streamed yesterday, so we'll see what happens there. And I guess my last words will, since it's Pride Month, will be assless chaps.
Okay.
Fuck
So
yeah.
let's go to the subject and go to the expert on assless chaps, Godless Sewing.
How's it going? I'm Godless Sewing of the Godless Sewing channel. Go subscribe to the Godless Sewing channel. I have a video up right now, and I actually have a DIY assless chaps video. So if you're bored, go check it out. Godless Sewing, be gay, do crimes, wrap it up like it's 1995. And don't forget to tip your waitress on the way out. Thank
And
you.
how do I learn how to program better by
See
watching
what
the
kind of
sewing
segue that
channel?
was?
Yeah.
Okay, well, and I will be back tomorrow night at 10 p.m., which we are going to kick off National Sloth Girl Day.
Nice.
Because, Friday is her birthday, so.
Oh, Perp, could I make one mention? I forgot to.
Oh, sure.
For those of you who recall, we were talking about a bill being introduced into the La Crosse, Wisconsin.
Oh yes, the city council.
City council and stuff like that, to ban all deconversion therapy, regardless of who, when, where, what, how, why.
Nice.
It passed out of committee at a vote of 5-1.
Excellent.
And it is now going to the floor, where it's
Okay.
expected to pass.
Glad to hear that's progressing.
It's a pretty impressive thing for a relatively small city.
Yeah,
in
they're
a
taking quite a
relatively
stand.
red part of the country.
Yep, they're taking quite a stand considering you've got the Republican governor and I think most of your legislature at this point.
The governor is Democratic.
Oh.
Tony Evers.
Sorry, I'm behind on that. Okay, well, like I said, I'll be back here tomorrow at 10. So I just want to thank all my supporters. As I said, Mark Caesar is being my top Patreon supporter now. Schizocrasher has been supporting me in many other ways. Just sent me a bit extra on PayPal. So, I appreciate all the extra help. And I appreciate the help from Robert X and Ox, who not only subscribe on Patreon, but are, out here as my moderators almost every time.
You all rock.
So appreciate you playing Bop the Bots all the time for us. And Jyuni the Apostate, who did my artwork. As well as the Lavender Lady, Greg Hartwick, and Dog. You know, really good of you all to, just help me keep things going.
We appreciate you.
We love you all.
Yep. We will bid you all a good day, and we will see you all tomorrow night. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Love you, chat.